so glad no one heard the shit before this.
Well, they can hear you now.
My whiskey looks like there's a T-Rex walking by it.
Turn us back up right as you said that. All right, let's go to the screen that I'm supposed to be on. Hello and welcome to
Schizophobia.
Nope.
What?
Don't you dare
Fuck.
say that name on this
Oh
podcast.
yeah, we don't like him anymore. We're
For some reason.
we're canceling Max.
Yeah, Max canceled and
You know what you did.
cool. Yeah, welcome to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon, episode 84. We've done 84 of these. It is the 18th of March 2022. I had to actually look at the screen to see what the date was because I forgot.
I went to the shop yesterday, mechanic. And
Okay.
I had to sign paperwork because I had to give them money.
Wow, what an important fellow
I
you
know,
must
I'm
be.
very important. I gave them $80. And while I'm signing this paperwork, I'm like, "What fucking day is it?" And he says, "It's St. Patrick's Day." And I'm like, "All right, I don't care what day is it."
Yeah.
Apparently, St. Patrick's Day happens on the 17th.
I don't think that's every. I don't know. Maybe it is.
I don't know. All I know is it's a racist holiday, and I refuse to celebrate it.
Cool. Well, good.
I hate the Irish.
Glad we. Yeah, I got
The
that.
Catholics.
You're on that side of the.
Yeah, I'm an orange boy. I like the British.
Hmm.
It's not. No, that's true. Don't do
Yeah. Normally, I don't side with the Catholics, but in the case of the Ireland divide, I think.
In the case of Mexico and in the case of Ireland, the Catholics are on the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Fair enough.
and
Well, we haven't
okay,
done we
but-
haven't done any introductions or anything. So
Yeah,
if you're new to
well,
this,
I
I
nailed that the best I could.
yeah, I apologize for my my
Never-
companion
never
here.
Apologize for what you're.
I am the host of the show. My name is Michael Deebs. I am joined, as always, by Danko Suvin, Master Interrupter, from the Instagram handle at DankDeluz, and also joined by John, the producer, from the Instagram handle at Who Cares. He never updates it anyways.
Stupid piece of shit.
that's the whole thing. It's actually longer than Instagram allows. They gave him special privileges because he doesn't update it.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you don't use any of our server space, you can have a
Yeah.
372 digit username. Digit?
You know what?
What's
That's
the
not
fucking word.
character.
Character, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. If you had any, you'd know.
Oh,
Starting with John.
Oh, damn.
Starting with John, how are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, no, I'm great. Super positive.
Good. Well, you know what? You're in luck because today's going to be a positive episode where we only talk about good things, which is what we always do on this podcast.
I finally submitted a link, and it is a good thing.
You did finally submit a link. It's been
I've done it before.
it's been like a month or two.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah.
I mean,
A month.
generously. Yeah.
Let's say a month. Let's say a month. Danko,
What's up?
since you, I'm the teacher right now.
Yeah.
Since you want to talk in front of the class, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm conflicted because in a couple of days
Okay.
I'm gonna be moving across the United States and I won't be able to hang out with my best friend anymore. Love you.
Who's your best? Oh, is it
No,
me?
I love you, but you're
Oh,
not, you're not my friend.
yeah.
You're not my friend.
Yeah.
I love you romantically, sexually. In terms of friendship, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
not a
gay,
whole lot of
you
feeling
know,
there.
Like I'm like a Spartan warrior. You
The-
know, I'll fuck you and I'll love you, but I'm not gonna be friends with you.
I will oil your ass before war, but
Yeah.
goddamn will I not or love you.
No, I'm seeing my best friend tomorrow, and that's whoever decides to hang out with me, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, nice. Good.
Anyway, but no, I genuinely though, I'm Now I can't say it genuinely because I've framed it all as
Yeah.
a joke.
You shit posted it
but,
out of genuine space.
By the way, this is how I say I love you to every
Yeah.
woman for the first time. It's either-
Ladies.
It's either as I come, which is the best time to say
Yeah.
I love you, or it's I end up nesting it under 37 layers of irony, where I'm like, I love you, but not in the same way as my bros.
Wouldn't it be silly if we like loved each other or something? I don't know. It'd be dumb. I was just making a joke. Do you actually feel that way? That's fucking weird.
Yeah. You better not, because anyway. But yeah. So I will miss you, and it's gonna suck to be in a place that I want to be.
Yeah, well, that seemed to change as it went through went through the sentence. I will also miss you, but we're both in luck.
Yeah. Oh, what did we do?
We are going to be doing the drive together.
That is true.
And the viewer and listener may see some after production or maybe like during production of the trip and the hijinks that we get up
like
to.
The pre-com of pre-production. Or of production. So I think you would call pre-production because you're mixing the word pre-com.
As someone who believes that life begins with jizz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
life begins with prostate fluid. So every time you get a damp spot on your trousers, you just killed a child.
I've actually killed several children since we started recording.
Well, there you go. But that's your weak prostate.
Yeah,
that's not them.
Well,
I don't know why I'm making fun of your prostate a bunch tonight.
Yeah, this is the second time. The first time was off recording, but fair enough.
But I will say though that the best thing about driving a long distance with a friend of yours that you're not going to see for a while is that after you spend 3 days with someone in a car, you never want to see them again.
That's not true. We spent about 3 days together in the car once, and we still talk to each other.
Well, yeah, but we needed some time.
I don't even think that's true.
No, we were drinking and hanging out.
Immediately after.
Yeah, but I resented you.
Oh well, that's fair because I made you do that drive. I didn't make you. I asked.
Dog.
I asked.
Yeah, you asked. Hey, fucking jobless, homeless piece of shit. Do you want to hang out with me and a dog for a couple days in a car? There will be food involved. And I said, all right.
That's not how I prefaced it.
Yeah.
But,
well, and it really sucked.
I said all that stuff except for jobless. What was the other one? Homeless piece of shit.
Yeah, but
I just said you were jobless and homeless. Yeah. I didn't call you a piece of shit for it.
And you were like putting handfuls of sand into my mouth.
Say no. If you don't say anything, I'll just assume you mean yes. Cool. Yeah, glad that we've spent 10 minutes talking about how I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I've abused you horribly with sand in your mouth.
And then you have a leaky dick.
And that I have a leaky dick. Yeah. Great.
But only because your butthole's broken.
Well,
your butthole gland.
Sometimes you take it too hard, you know what I mean? I actually just bought a reciprocal saw today.
Oh yeah,
and I just realized
on the end of that?
Yeah, I just realized that a reciprocal saw is actually the best sex toy or one of the better tools that you can possibly buy.
Yeah, like 75% of that is true, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You can either make a really cool like a hole cut in something, or you can fill a hole with a dildo really fast and really hard.
You've seen Burn After Reading, right? Holy shit, that movie rules. It's so good.
All I watch is Marvel films.
Well, you'll love this. It has Brad Pitt in it.
Okay.
As an asshole that works in a gym. It's very funny.
Okay.
But no, one of the characters is building a Sybian the whole time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's so good. God damn it. I'm going to watch that movie right now. I'm just going to leave the podcast.
Okay. Well, cool.
No.
John? So yeah, we don't have a topic today because I had a bunch of midterm assignments that were due.
How are you doing on your midterms?
I think I might be failing one of my classes because I haven't really put my heart into it, and now I either have to lie and cheat my way into a passing grade or do the honest thing, which is bow out. So I'm gonna lie and cheat my way.
Astronomy?
Yeah, it's astronomy. I forgot to do some observation assignment that I was supposed to do. Forgot about it, and then I realized, oh, you can just look up like lunar observations online. I hope nobody that is grading my tests or
Believes in the mathematics of the stars.
well, no, I just mean like I hope this doesn't come back to bite me as some kind of like academic fraud situation.
Oh, listening to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just admitted to basically not being honest about my academic pursuits.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, if my boss ever finds out about it, it's going to be really funny,
Yeah,
and it probably won't matter.
probably won't matter in my case either. They rely on me a lot at work now too.
I mean,
so,
I'm just like the public outreach face of the company,
yeah.
so they won't care if I'm on a shit posting podcast about hating capitalism.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Anyway, who gives a shit? Am I right?
Speaking about hating capitalism,
Yes.
let's go ahead and go to our first link. We
An investigative unit.
we've got pain. So the continuing story of the Millennium Tower, which we have
Oh shit.
yeah, which we have covered specifically because I can't stop looking at this fucking thing. I have Google alerts and actually I should have covered this. I should have covered this weeks ago, but the whole like Russia-Ukraine thing happened, so I figured that was more important to talk about.
I checked my Google alerts for the first time ever because I remember that I had them, but I never get alerted by them, and I'm like, what the fuck do I have as Google alerts? I know I said something for that way back when. One of them is my name.
Oh.
Because I want to know if
First and last, or just first?
First, middle, and last, like the whole thing.
Oh, okay, just
in
in case, yeah.
You know? And I want to know when they find out. But the other one is Leslie Nielsen back from the dead.
Wait, he died?
Yeah. When Leslie Nielsen died, I and my buddies all decided to come back to my house and fuck.
Oh,
and
nice.
Fuck,
Cool.
We were gonna put on a Leslie Nielsen marathon,
right?
Which is the same thing, really. But the problem was that we realized that we didn't own any Leslie Nielsen movies.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Dude, they rule. Fuck you. Airplane, Naked Gun, all that shit.
You didn't even let me finish my sentence.
I'm ready to
Leslie Nielsen movies get played on TMC or like AMG or whatever. Yeah, like you're just gonna like flip through the channels and see it anyways.
I don't have cable.
So pretty well. I mean,
I don't think I did back then either.
It's one of those. It's like I was talking about the other week when I was saying that I had to stay in a hotel for work. And that was like the first time I'd watched TV in years.
Watched the Tommyknockers.
No, I watched Gran Torino.
Oh yeah.
But only part of it before I was like, yeah, this is really racist. I remember.
Yeah, that movie's only 20 minutes when you remove the slurs.
Yeah. But I think that's where Leslie Nielsen, because we all know like all the scenes and the gags and the jokes at this point, and
well,
you don't need to like watch the movie again, really.
I don't know, man. But so. We realized we didn't have any of his movies, and so what we did instead, in order to celebrate Leslie Nielsen's life and career, was we just played Liam Neeson movies for the rest of the day.
Same guy.
Yeah. Which I think he would have enjoyed. Anyway, what is this tower?
So let's go ahead and try to get through this ad silently. We can burn 14 seconds of chatting to each other.
Oh hell yeah!
Because I don't want to go to foonglaw.com for got pain.
That's actually what it is.
Jesus.
Yeah. I assume that's somebody's last name, Foon.
Foong
Law.
Yeah.
Because it's about someone who.
It's on Foong.
Lawyer. Yeah.
Nice racism, guys. All right.
Reporter Jackson Vanderbilt.
Go back to the beginning. We missed an important still that we need to see.
Okay.
So right there.
Oh, nice.
What the listener can't see, but the viewer can see, is a giant fucking gap between the floor of a building and the elevator. I work in building maintenance, and I can tell you that if it's ever this big, there is something seriously wrong with your building. Again, we were talking about the Millennium Tower, which we know there's something seriously wrong with this building.
When sparks are shooting out of the side of your elevator when you go up and down, because it's grinding against the wall.
Right.
You know your building is crooked.
So elevators are very precise, and there's a lot of regulations around them. And
We don't really need it though.
you want to have those regulations, I assure you. I worked for a hotel which I will not name.
I'm a libertarian only with elevators.
I worked for a hotel which I will not name, and they didn't do very good elevator maintenance service. And one time a housekeeper got trapped in the elevator, and she was so frightened that she didn't even think to like use the emergency call box or even like shout loud or anything. She just kind of huddled in the corner, and it took us like an hour and a half to realize, oh shit, someone's stuck on the elevator. Thankfully I have training in electronics, so I was able to go down to the elevator control panel, bust open the lock, and then do a couple of little dip switches to open up the doors manually.
When you opened up the door, he was gone.
Yes, and there were 2 sets of footprints in the elevator sand.
Christ. I don't know who to save your children.
But elevator maintenance is very important, and elevators are actually very precise.
Yes.
And monthly maintenance is required at the very least, sometimes more than that, in order to keep them within regulation, which are all good regulations, because you don't want to die when you go on an elevator. And certain things like where the elevator starts and stops is very important, so you're not getting like cut in half as you try to get off the elevator, or
just,
like you're not crushed against the top of something,
right.
or fall to the bottom,
or just little shit like you don't fucking fall on your stupid face when you get out of an elevator.
right?
Yeah.
And so when you have what looks to be here at least like a 2-inch gap, that's a problem.
I love a 2-inch gap.
And you might think, 2 inches, that's not very much. But you don't know how much your dumb fucking feet shuffle, okay?
Yeah, it's true. We've seen you walk.
Yeah,
you
you're...
piece of shit.
We are all shambling, horrible human creatures that are completely unaware of where our feet fall. And anytime any of these regulations on, like, stepping distance and stair height are broken, you trip all over your fucking self.
Yeah, we
and you
wouldn't
nearly
get all that
die
if these fucking millennials would get off their fucking phone.
Right.
Then we could have all sorts of non-regulation 2-inch deep stairs. You know.
So what's happened with the Millennium Tower is not only is it tilting,
It's whirling,
and sinking,
bopping.
it's sliding.
It's
Nice.
Go ahead and roll the clip, John.
Joining us now is investigative reporter Jackson Vanderbecken, who broke this story for us. Jackson, you've been on the forefront of this story for years. Let me just say this. Is this just bad luck, or was this high-rise doomed from the beginning here?
Well, you know, they started realizing it had been sinking and even starting to tilt very early on, even before the building actually opened for occupancy. And, you know, as it's gone, I think every turn has been a bit of a surprise for the people who built the building, who designed the building, who designed its foundation. And this latest, the fact that the building is sliding, I think is just it's a culmination of many unfortunate events.
When you call into the newsroom and say you have something new, we're all kind of just shocked of what comes next. So let me get this straight now. A gap in the elevators. Can they fix this? And what's the real danger for the people who live there? Because there's still plenty of people who are inside that tower.
Pause it.
Well, if you listen to...
I know how to fix a sliding building.
Yeah.
You just get some Canadians with brooms.
Oh yeah. They brush the
asphalt.
the 100 feet of sand that you've built this building on.
Yeah, well, just
until it like compacts enough that I don't know why I keep doing that. You just brush it.
You just get some Canadians.
Yeah.
You just get bigger Canadians then.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
what?
You get those Scottish guys that like throw the logs around.
Oh, a caber toss, yeah.
And
toss the building into the sea.
Well, no, you just toss some logs at it until it like knocks it back into place.
Oh, that seems precise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have no idea how much I use a hammer when I'm hanging pictures. All right. Keep playing this.
To the Millennium folks, they'd say there is no danger. They fixed the gap. Now, this gap was as much as 2 inches. Now, the legal maximum is 1.25 inches. So, at one point or other, it was quite significantly larger than it should have been. And the regulations are pretty clear that this gap should be limited to keep people from tripping, and also so folks can use the elevator who are disabled. So the idea is to keep that gap at a set tolerance.
And we're looking at the ruler there, a photo that you brought up in your story on your reporting. Is this just kind of a ticky-tack foul, or are there other buildings in San Francisco and across the state and across the country that have the same problem?
You know, we talked to a longtime veteran elevator expert, and he simply said he'd never seen anything like this. I mean, when you think about it, it's 2 buildings that are abutting against each other, and one is moving at a rate. It has moved 1 inch towards the west since it was constructed. So you could think of that, and the elevator is in the next door building, a parking structure, so that building isn't going anywhere. So, I mean, you know, it's not something that anybody anticipated, that's for sure.
Jackson, I just looked. There are plenty of condos there at the Millennium Tower for rent and some even for sale. Is anyone buying?
Well, one of the problems is getting financing. As we know, the fix is designed to try to limit the restrictions on getting financing to purchase units. Now, of course, people can buy them with cash, and that has been happening, and they've been able to get some significant discounts. So a lot of people in the building are trying to wait this out until this fix is finally, the planned fix is supposed to be done by the end of this year.
What's it take for me to get in there? 2 or 3 bedroom flat in the Millennium? A few million bucks?
You know, I mean, I'm not a real estate expert, but I can tell you that, you know, the prices are much less than what people would probably like to sell their units for.
Okay, Jackson, keep at it. Thanks for joining us tonight.
You got real reporter on the right and guy who reads the news on the left, just being a fucking.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, cool. We went to foonglaw.com, a thing I specifically said we don't want to do.
They tricked me.
They did not trick
Is it
you.
Fong?
I don't know. It's got
yeah,
2
just-
O's.
Well, I don't know. How do you?
I kind of just spazzed out.
It's pho. It's not faux, you know. So it's a lot of the time the words that you see that transliterated wrong.
Yeah, well, there's this place called Ellis Island where they got a bunch of fucking honkies to translate people's actual ethnic surnames into English, and they just like fucking went all ham on it, and they're like, "Yeah, you're from Ireland, you're a Mick whatever now."
Yeah. Oh, your name is Mackenzie? It's Mackenzie now, you
Yeah.
bitch.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mackenzie? Mackenzie? Yeah.
I mean, a lot better than Mac and Gay, am I right?
Spicy.
It's not better.
All right. Our next topic is last episode. I promised
What happened last episode?
we talked about some stuff. Laws.
Laws.
Laws that are being bad.
Did we talk about people trying to disenfranchise people? Like always?
We did.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
So
Is it happening again?
speaking of disenfranchisement, well, it's happening back then is the next
Oh,
topic.
hell yeah, back then. I love talking about back then.
So, I promised that I would give a review of Black Reconstruction if we wanted to hear that.
Yeah, so whatever.
Also, I can give a review of Batman if we'd like to hear that. So,
Fuck! I haven't watched that yet.
so let's choose between Batman or Black Reconstruction in America by W.E.B. Du Bois.
You can't possibly make me choose.
I can.
I would say Web du Bois. Because I want to watch Batman.
Okay, cool. Because I haven't watched Batman either, and my review of Batman was just this shitty drawing of Batman with "Batman is cool," I guess, written underneath it.
That was.
Was that like a
I did make a prop for that joke. I spent entire seconds drawing that picture of Batman.
This is
Pretty bad.
full of slurs.
No, it's not. That's the Black Reconstruction in America review. It's full of slurs. All right, go ahead and hit the next link, which is just the Wikipedia article for Black Reconstruction in America, which
I'm
as
right, good, hello. When I read Du Bois, I thought of the Batman.
You pronounced Du Bois wrong.
When the Batman and Du Bois gathered together, they talk about the thing like they are.
If Batman was alive during Reconstruction, he would have beaten up the Klansmen.
Well, I mean, that's better than what you wrote. What you wrote is, if Batman,
I'm not literate. I'm good at speaking. Okay.
if Batman was alive during Reconstruction, he would be afraid of black people.
I mean,
is
true.
true.
He
I
is.
mean, it's
He is a rich guy in a hood.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
but it is weird.
No.
Well, he's not only a rich guy in the hood, but he hates crime.
You do follow. Are you saying that black people are criminals?
No, well, they were criminalized, is what I was going to say.
Well,
Oh.
you do point out later in your essay here. I'll skip through most of it, but you do point out towards the end this bit about how usually Batman is called Batman because people assume he's afraid of bats and he conquered his fears.
Right.
And what you feel he should be referred to now, both because of his look and because of his story, it's just Black Man. I wish I could. What is I'm just saying seriously.
That sounds like something I'd write as a shitpost. Yeah.
All right.
Black Reconstruction in America. I did not read this technically. I listened to the audiobook, which I think was better for me because I absorbed knowledge very audibly pretty well.
I'm telling you, people always have their best thoughts when they're walking or when they're in the car or when they're falling asleep. And
yeah, I listened to this entire thing while I was in the car.
Exactly. And so if you fucking drive a bunch, you want to listen to something that's real fucking long, and you want to zone out to it and listen to it and come up with your own fun fucking ideas.
Wasn't paying attention to the road at all.
No.
Was just completely absorbed. In the words of W.E.B. Du Bois.
So many are dead.
I mean, you know, all those kids in the school zone would have been happy to know that I was getting woke. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
where
Just like the Ukrainian.
it's hard to figure out where to start with Black Reconstruction. This isn't what I wrote down. I just have notes here. I didn't write down like it's hard to figure out where to start with Black Reconstruction
Why
in
did you
America.
become Irish?
I didn't.
You became a little Irish.
I was more trying to speak in a posh tone.
think the Irish are pot.
Not something I would say.
When I was reading Black Reconstruction, I was thinking
More
of
like-
all the car bombs I set off in the children's parking lot.
I just thought of calling all Irish cuisine posh-tatoes.
Yeah, what do you call a Irish restaurant with tableside service? Posh potatoes. Got 'em. Fuck the Irish, am I right?
No, we like the Irish. Sometimes. Depends on whether or not you're Catholic. It was published in 1935, which was almost 100 years ago now. 105 years ago, if we're doing the math. Well, 107 years ago now, I guess. I don't know why I thought we were still in 2020. Probably because nothing's happened in 2 years and I'm miserable.
Hell yeah. Welcome to 2020, y'all.
What's most alarming about this book, and I'm glad that I read it. It is incredibly relevant to today in a way that's just like extremely disheartening, but puts a fire in you, I guess. It's kind of like, and I was immediately inspired to listen to Chris Hedges after this, so that's what I've been listening to now. Is America the Farewell Tour.
Good ass book.
Good book. Yeah, good book for sure so far. I'm only 4 chapters into it.
You want to feel bad?
Well, what I like about Chris Hedges and what I like about W.B. Du Bois, and I think they follow a similar tradition, is they don't lie to you about the state of things.
Yeah, they don't sugarcoat shit.
They don't sugarcoat it, but they don't like tell you to despair when they're not sugarcoating it.
No.
They believe in having a a radical sort of hope that, defies the expectation of defeat. You can expect to be defeated, but like, what kind of fucking dork ass nerd would just like give up,
Fucking absolutely.
Yeah.
That's Jesus, no. Let's have a moment of silence just thinking about that, because I feel like that's the most fucking important thing that I try to tell dumbass teenagers on the internet all the fucking time.
Right.
Stop being a wuss.
Well,
just life is bad. Life sucks. Life is really painful.
Yeah.
And politics are bullshit, and everything is pretty not great. But don't be a coward. And try to do good for people.
And the other cowardice that they hit upon is
about antinatalism.
No, not
I just had to say it
antinatalism.
to piss someone off.
Yeah, we know who, and we love you very much.
Wait, who? Who are you talking about?
We know who we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not dox her or them on.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh.
I know who you're talking about. I didn't mean you.
Oh, well, I did.
I meant all of you people.
Another thing that I've noticed in younger people, and nihilism is to be expected to some extent. But like being a detached, callous edgelord about like the suffering in the world is not any better than just like being a part of enacting the suffering in the world necessarily. Like, recognize that the world is bad. Recognize that bad things are happening. Don't fucking give up like a dork ass nerd. Don't become a fucking edgelord to just like deflect every emotion that you should have. Like, cry some fucking tears. Be sad about the state of things. Let yourself feel those emotions and work towards doing something against it in whatever way you can, or at least speak against it in some way, even if it's just to friends or family or whatever.
We understand that the world looks really dark from the inside of a
Your
log.
mailman.
But you should pull yourself out of it. Pull your head out of the toilet.
Eventually, the janitor is gonna come by and he's gonna unlock the locker.
And then I don't know, give some fucking money to a homeless person or something. Just
do something.
Help someone buy drugs is all I'm saying. That was the point of my rant.
I have seen some bad reviews of Black Reconstruction in America. I wanted to get a sense for how people review this.
Yeah, who the fuck? Okay, go on.
I
bad reviews?
I saw some good reviews, and then I saw some bad reviews. One of the bad reviews was basically like, W.E.B. Du Bois makes the case that the war was about slavery. That's not a person that read the book. Sorry. The Civil War was not initially about slavery. It became very much about slavery eventually. But really what it was a war of economics, where the South was trying to exercise its productivity as power against the North, which was, investment bankers and some industry, but mostly a lot of finance capital versus the actual labor capital. That's kind of how the war started. Abraham Lincoln, and I'll touch a bit more on him later. But Abraham Lincoln didn't start the war to end slavery. The abolitionist movement was often derided in the North and the South. It was essentially a war of economics that broke out. The South was incredibly radicalized. They had an extremely impoverished white class that couldn't find work because there was free labor that existed in the South at that time. So that's some of the bad reviews I've seen is that Du Bois is saying that the war was about slavery. It became about slavery, did not start out about slavery. It was a states' rights thing for sure.
Which sucks so much to say.
Right. Well, it was the most disingenuous way that you can say states' rights, because it was capitalists trying to out-capitalize other capitalists.
Which loops back around and then it tells you that the war was about slavery, right? Because it was about capitalism.
Yeah,
And
it was.
the reason that slavery existed was as the motor and only way for capitalism to kind of elevate itself and accelerate to the point that it did.
Without a doubt.
Right.
Slavery made the South, essentially.
Exactly. There's a reason that the cotton gin didn't get rid of slavery. Surprise! Technology doesn't necessarily liberate you from labor. But the reason that the cotton gin didn't get rid of slavery is because it's all about accelerating production as much as possible, independent of any kind of need. Because if you can get over that weird kind of lambda hump, where suddenly supply and demand have met one another, you could just sell everything for cheap as shit and then accelerate your profits after another period. Anyway, that fucking matters. But all I'm saying is I know you're agreeing with is that ultimately slavery is an absolutely capitalistic enterprise, especially in the way that it existed, because the fact that it was a kind of slave system that could never fulfill itself.
Yeah.
Right. Versus like, I need to build a pyramid. I'm gonna have a bunch of slaves to do that. Okay, I built my fucking pyramid. Now I don't know. I'll push them into a lake or something. But I only had this many slaves.
Well,
versus with American capitalism in the way that our special form of capitalism ended up forming and then taking over the world. It's all about never-ending fucking growth. So,
right.
Anyway, sorry. What?
No, that was all good.
I'm gay.
So Black Reconstruction in America makes it clear that the slaves, and pretty much only the slaves, are responsible for winning their legal freedom. I put legal in all caps and underlined it because that's all that happened out of it. They won a legal freedom, and the reason that I distinguish it as a legal freedom is because it was not an actual freedom that was won.
Do you want to expand on?
I'll expand on that in a second. The reason that this case is made, and it's made quite clearly in Black Reconstruction, is that Black slaves made themselves indispensable, sometimes on the South side, but especially on the North side in the war. The slaves became spies for the North, and really what the slaves were basically doing was trying to include themselves into something that was happening in a way that everybody wanted to keep them out of, but they were such a prominent and exuberant force that they really couldn't hold this back in place. They couldn't stop Black people from like showing up at a Union outpost and being like, hey, we've got a bunch of information, and also we'll dig trenches for you. Just don't like hit us. That would be cool. So they did that for a while, and then eventually they became full-fledged participants in the war, which is something that every Civil War movie likes to leave out, I think, is that like somewhere...
Except that one with Denzel Washington, right? Was it Denzel Washington? Yeah.
What's that?
It was Denzel Washington, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like a lot of Civil War movies leave it out. Except for like a few where it's like completely about that. But something like 200,000 Black people fought in the Civil War at one point or another.
That's only a fifth of a million. That's
only like a huge part of the Union Army. Because I think like total like casualties of the North and South are somewhere in like 600, 700,000.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Fucking what a bloody
and another observation that Black Reconstruction makes is that a lot of times a Black person would join, serve, die in combat, and they get replaced by another Black person under the same name because they just didn't want to like fuck with the rosters, essentially.
Dude.
So there was massive undercounting of the Black involvement in the war.
Right.
On top of like also just not being like the North was incredibly racist. Might surprise you to know that.
What?
Yeah.
The benevolent white people of
Never.
New York?
And they had a hard time accepting that that black people not only were adequate combatants, but in a lot of cases better combatants, because they were trying to fight for something that they really actually believed in.
That's the funniest fucking thing about all these quasi-fascist ideologies is that tendency to think one thing and its opposite. You know, it's like the obvious cliche joke that everyone always says about, like, they think Mexicans are lazy and they have them do all the work.
Mexicans are so lazy that they've taken all of our jobs.
But the one that I think is the funniest to me is thinking about things like the Civil War, where it's just like, oh, black men, they're so effeminate and incapable of you know, focus and combat. They're not able to go ahead and do the things that white men do. And while simultaneously viewing them as, like, you know, the most racist, violent spear chucking, you know, all the fucking awful, you know, hyper violent, hyper masculine shit that you can think of. And that is the funniest example of that in my mind. It's so bizarre.
And a really poignant observation that's made during this is Du Bois points out that, like, several generals, and a lot of this is based off of primary sources. So that is, like, letters written from these generals, these politicians, these people during this time, firsthand interviews. He was alive in the after period of the Civil War, and was able to interview lots of people who were engaged in the Civil War themselves, or were in some way, like, politically involved during the Civil War, etc.
People forget how recent a lot of this shit is.
Right, yeah.
The US is not an old place.
He died in the 1940s, I think.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, he's just like a generation and a half removed from us, essentially.
Yeah. I remember getting into, like, a not like an argument, but a discussion with a girlfriend of mine years ago. Sorry, I did the humble brag again.
girlfriend.
Don't worry, I'm lonely now. About you, Mike.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so we had this discussion because I brought up the fact that there were still like, islands that H.P. Lovecraft felt with some justification held yet unmet tribes of people.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, that's fucking insane. That's ridiculous. And in a way, it is a little bit, but it was still something that was. I mean, it's still literally true, or close to it. Like, there are tribes of people that we've just met, like, within the last decade or two.
And learn to exploit.
But in the early 20th century, there were literally islands off the coast of the United States that were sovereign and, like, led and owned by yet unmet Native Americans, right?
Yeah.
And that's just how fucking recent all of this nightmare shit is. That we just push people off their fucking land and murder them and
we'll get into that later.
All the shit. So just a reminder.
Yeah.
What year did the Civil War start?
Well, that was something I was gonna bring up. I think it starts in 1961 or 1861. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's 1861. I think is when it, like, officially starts. And this is something that I'll say sometimes, because it was on the Discord, I think, which, by the way, we have a Discord. Please join. But somebody was talking about the term Yankee, and whether or not people felt offended when they hear the term Yankee.
I mean, I'm Yankeeing all the time.
And I did this, like, joke shitpost reply where I said nobody can call me a Yankee because I was raised in Washington, and Washington wasn't even a state when the Civil War happened.
Right.
So, you know,
like what fucking year did Alaska become a state?
Oh, it was after Washington.
Yeah.
I think it was like
bizarrely.
It was 1907, 1911.
Yeah, 20th century. Like,
yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, which we got Alaska for building a telephone line for Russia.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
I love this shit.
Yeah.
Man, history's very funny. It's so sad.
So, black slaves made themselves indispensable during the war, and that effort demanded legal concession. Lincoln was forced to recognize the black man as a man deserving equal right. That's something that comes up a lot in Black Reconstruction, is that all these white generals, all these white politicians were like, holy shit, the black man can stab a guy in the face during war and like follow commands and take an outpost and like fuck people up and and they're actually incredibly intelligent, and they're good at like engineering things and digging trenches.
They're really
and,
well spoken.
Yeah, well, the well spoken thing, not necessarily, because no, because
You don't think black people are well spoken?
that's not what I'm saying.
Wow, you heard it
That's not
here
what I'm saying at all.
You think they're all
on the
intelligent, not well
Benzo
spoken,
Rehab
so
dungeon.
there's a blockade between their minds and their mouths.
That's not what I'm saying at all. You guys are putting words in my mouth.
Known
That's why I
racist
think
Michael
John is an
Deebs.
exception. You know, John is one of the good ones.
Yeah.
You know, because he's both
Oh, man.
eloquent and intelligent. You know. Which-
So the point
it's a bell curve. Okay.
the
It's a
point
bell
I was
curve.
going to make is that black people
Some of us
at
are
the
well
time.
Fuck yeah. I love.
You know
it.
what? I get.
I love it.
I wrote a genuine review last night. My partner came in here and witnessed me sobbing over these pages as I was thinking about the struggle of the black man in America.
I just need everyone to know that when I'm making all these jokes, I feel they're really funny. Don't get me wrong, but I feel really bad though.
I didn't actually sob, so we both have things to admit to.
I don't care about your feelings. I care about whether or not people perceive me as being racist.
Facts don't care about my
That's the only
feelings.
thing I care about. So that I can be racist in my heart against
The point I was
Italians
going to
and
make-
the Irish. Greece.
Macedonians
Macedonians are cool.
the black population had developed a very
Albanians are alright.
shut the fuck up. The black population had developed a dialect that kind of existed in opposition to the white master. So at the time that I'm speaking of, a lot of these generals did not consider black folk to be well spoken. They were like, oh, they talk a little goofy and I don't understand what they're saying all the time.
I just noticed that a bunch of our soldiers are speaking to AABE.
Yeah, no, almost exactly like your grandpa would say. You know, like, oh, they seem fun, but I don't know what they're saying all the
They
time.
keep saying a word I'm not allowed to say.
If they can say it, why can't I? The funny part, I forget the voice actor that was doing the reading of Black Reconstruction, but he really turned it on for whenever a racist old white guy was
you
talking.
need to.
and I'm gonna use a slight N-word here, but you know there would be these moments where and this voice actor was black, by the way, so he had this very rich, beautiful voice, and then he would
all black people do.
and then he would turn on this like white southern voice on top of it and be like, I say the Negro deserves his right.
It just becomes a fucking like, what's the name of that fucking cartoon cock? Rooster guy?
Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn, yeah.
Almost Foghorn Leghorn, but with the Southern Belle sort of like affect onto it. So like, I do say the Negro deserves his right, and anybody who dare defy his rights need to be lashed upon the cross. It was great. There were many times that I found.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, and then when he would do like the racist voices, like these goddamn Negroes keep ruining our country.
Oh, that racist voice, like the
Yeah.
voice of the racist.
Yeah.
Not a racist voice. I was really hoping you'd like.
It was
bust out
it was
a
it was it was
Chinese
great,
accent
and
or
and
something.
there were some moments where I would giggle at that, and he was really good at like conveying like the passion of it, but it was just funny to me at some points.
This is a great idea for a sketch, actually.
Okay.
Is someone listening to this like beautiful narration of this like really kind of woke historical narrative, and doing a lot of these voices, and they just get a little bit more extreme over time, just get a little bit crazy, until suddenly he's just like, and I walked down to the train tracks the other day, and I found myself some Chinamen, and what they were saying was, "Oh, bing bong, a chi." It's just fucking like extremely racist Chinese, like just fake speak,
Yeah,
and it just that's probably where it would end, I imagine.
I hope so.
Which means it needs to go further,
Yeah,
right? Because it
always
needs
got to go further.
well, a sketch needs to make you uncomfortable in that case.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's why SNL is so good, because it makes you just kidding.
Yeah. Well, it's different if you're uncomfortable from the start.
Oh, I'm just cringing.
They're talking about
All right.
Kanye.
Shit.
Are you still talking about this fucking book?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reading piece
yeah.
of shit.
It's one of the greatest
I-
pieces of literature I've ever read. So
I
fuck
feel like
off.
we're
That's a
really
good
off the
review.
rails.
4 out of 5. The best thing I've ever read.
I gave it a full 5 stars.
Wow. I
Yeah.
refuse to do that. I will never give anything a perfect score.
I mean, why not? But
Because I need room to move. Like, what if I like something more the next day?
who cares? Give it 5
Yeah.
stars too.
No!
Give it 5
no,
stars.
because there's a difference between the thing I like more than the other thing.
Oh, it's gonna be Hegelian. Ooh.
No, that's not...
Just kidding.
It just means that you think only one thing can be perfect.
Yeah, which
well,
is Christ,
Yeah.
our black savior.
Anyways,
So which race gets 5 stars from you, Danko?
Christ, our black savior.
Oh,
It
okay.
has to be Ethiopian black as well. Yeah. Those are the only Christians. Those are the Armenians because they were first. Those are the only Christians I respect.
let's move on to one of my next notes, because we covered most of what I had.
Methodists are fine, but they're not real Christians. They're not real anything.
We've covered most of what I had.
Have coffee in the vendor room. Piece of shit.
Oh,
Not even. You don't clap for music because you're doing it for God. You fucking loser.
Yeah,
You're all 75 years old.
I'm just here for the fellowship. I'm not here for Jesus.
Everyone's a minister to Christ.
Yeah.
Everyone, really. How about your drug addict nephew? Piece of shit.
He helps me
Menace.
believe in Christ by getting me high as fuck.
He steals all your instant release hydromorphone.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Mormons?
I don't
Also
know. I don't know what we're
actually.
talking
Yeah.
about anymore.
I have some fucking opinions about different kinds of Protestants.
Okay, well,
We'll touch on it later.
I
We'll
guess
We'll
so.
have a special episode for all the types of Protestants I hate and why.
That's a religious deconstruction episode if ever I heard one.
That's actually true. We'll do it in the car. We'll do it in
Okay.
the car.
Yeah.
By the way, I like Methodists. I
Some
don't like Lutherans.
some of the okay. Well,
My first Lutheran pastor was gay though. That was kind of fun.
Methodist v Lutheran divide.
Yeah. He got
I've,
kicked out of the Lutheran church though, because
I've never met a nice Lutheran.
Lutherans suck. They
Yeah.
fucking suck. They're mean. They're really mean.
I mean, you think about the name Lutheran and where it comes from, right? It's somebody of
guy that-
Luther, and Luther's like biggest act was nailing
Yeah,
99 complaints to the wall
Yeah.
of the fucking church.
just the
It's-
easiest thing you can
Yeah.
do.
All
Isn't that
Karens are
fucking-
Lutherans.
Yeah. I got 99 problems with the Catholic Church in one.
That was actually the name of my second car because every time I opened the door, another like 95 things were wrong with it.
Hey.
Yeah, I was really clever in my early 20s.
Yeah, it was 95.
It was a 95 or 96. I always forget.
I think it was 95.
It was nearly 100. How am I going to count?
Yeah, who cares?
I only
That,
have
that's why I
10
just
fingers.
that's why I just rounded up to 99 and made
I
it
only
look
have
joke.
9 fingers.
Shut the You have 10 fingers.
Not after your Makita.
Hey, yeah.
Mike got a new tool.
Bought a reciprocal saw today.
Fuck yeah.
Or the other day.
I'll tell you what, it is reciprocating the work you put in,
Yeah. I haven't done anything.
which is
with
very
it
little. Yeah.
yet. The Reconstruction period was plagued by incredibly disingenuous actors who capitalized on white poverty to stoke rage and violence because the newly freed slaves were made out to be a new group of wage competitors rather than kindred laborers. Du Bois correctly argues that both impoverished blacks and whites should have banded together against the plantation owners, who were called planters at the time.
There's only one thing that man fears.
The plantation owners were literally called planters at the time.
They were called planters at the time, and I brought that up because wow.
That's why
Yeah.
Planters Peanuts is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You know,
that's a racist peanut. You can tell because he has a monocle.
Yeah.
So all the like weird shit that well yeah no well and especially these like plantation families there's a lot of people here in the South that they're very they're very into like the history of the
They're into
antebellum
history.
South, but well, for sure, but I don't know, I knew an old man that was really into like the gossip, I guess, or how like some of these people were fucking like freaks,
Right.
or how like all the weird mistresses and bastard children thing, like it's very like royal,
Oh, for
Right,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it
Like-
was their own iteration of everything
Yeah.
that the founding fathers supposedly tried to escape in the old world. They were basically just recreating it, but they were the
Yeah.
masters instead of being
Yeah.
Well,
the laborers and
and-
shitty
well, and
subjects.
right, and even more conservative than that, because it wasn't just that the American state and culture was trying to reproduce the old world. You were trying to produce the old world of the old world.
Mhm.
Like so much of the United States is predicated upon like the construction of Rome.
Yeah,
you
and it's
which means we're
interesting to
inherently fascist.
it's interesting to note that and let's not pretend that Europe and England were like necessarily ahead of the curve here. But abolition was incredibly popular in Europe and in England way before the Civil War even was like
Well,
a
they-
thing
they were-
thought of.
They were literally ahead of the curve, though. Like they.
Well,
they got
no,
rid of-
they got rid of it, and then they were like, "Oh, America's gonna have slavery, and it's gonna be like really profitable for us to get all this cotton,"
Yeah.
and so they like just accepted slavery in America.
I mean, we still do that, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that,
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is like, yeah, it was great that they were abolitionists in the old world,
Right.
but they
And-
were still like, let's
That's.
make money off of the new world slavery,
Right.
anyways.
And wasn't a blind eye turned towards British corporations, companies, or whatever they called them at the time?
Yeah, and the other thing is, yeah, the spice
participating in the
trade,
slave trade.
right?
Yeah.
Another a pitch that I need to do it, and I've done this pitch before, but it again is one of my favorite books, and it applies to this directly. But A Billion Black Anthropocenes or None by Catherine Yusoff.
I've read most of that.
Fucking amazing book.
Yeah.
It's beautifully written. It's fucking right. It's almost entirely right. In my opinion, that's books.
It's the rightest.
It's
Still a
right,
4.
It's extremely right wing. She's a fascist. I love it. No, but
four
she's-
4 out of 5 stars.
I give it like a 4.6. It's short. It's too short.
When you start having to introduce decimals, like
I'm doing
you're
yeah,
just being
and-
silly.
I'm at least doing
Yeah,
4.5.
and
like,
you're
yeah.
applying statistics to your
Yeah.
one vote.
I do it out of 100 in the end, and I just boil it down because you people need 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We deserve 5.
Yeah, so I do the math for you.
Catherine,
extra work in order to make the- Catherine Yusoff.
Yusoff deserves 5 stars.
She doesn't. She deserves 4 in that case.
Fuck off.
So, but one of the big points in this book
Yeah.
is that there is an interchange between human subjectivity and the objectivity of the environment.
For
Right.
sure. Right.
And that one of the things that has occurred with the transition away from slavery is that we now have transitioned into this way of taking that same kind of like ethical wrongdoing, as well as the basic damage that we just do to everything. And instead we just use machines powered by fossil fuels, right? Which will give millions and probably billions in the end, because I'm a little bit more optimistic than some people are about the movement of the human race in the future. But probably billions of people cancer, and you know, people die from this. The world's going to overheat. We're going to kill off just countless species, all these different things, because of the fact that we've transitioned into this new way of exploiting something else, because we just can't fucking get over exploiting things. So we're exploiting geology and the biosphere, rather than in a singular kind of, it feels even grosser to say, like, race of people, right? And it's a wonderful book anyway, and it reminds you how all of this is an ecological problem as well as a capitalistic problem, as well as a racial problem, and how all of this subjectivity and the interactions with the earth all need to be kind of considered together, and blah 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 blah. I'm done fucking talking. You just read.
It's also very short.
Very short. It's so short, and which is funny because I could talk about it forever.
Yeah.
But
so on that note, slavery never really ended. Is a
that's
point
what
that
I just said.
Yeah. Well,
in 37
I also just said on that note, I'm going off of my notes from W.E.B. Du Bois. Slavery never really ended. It was legally altered, and the new laws, the Black Codes or Jim Crow laws, were immediately passed to illegalize Black existence in the South, but also the North. People forget this existed in the North too.
Illegalize is a fucking wonderful word for this.
Yeah, that's why I used it.
Well, that's why he used it, right?
No, he might have used it, but yeah,
Because
I mean,
I imagine he would use it because I'm thinking that it comes from this tradition of the homo soccer, which is an idea that Agamben has taken up, and I won't necessarily speak about that, but the homo soccer, and I'm sorry, I'll shut the fuck up. I know I'm talking so much on the podcast, but the homo soccer is this concept in Rome where if someone is a baddie, you exile them within their own community, and they become the sacred person, or the sacrificed person. It's ambiguous.
Well, sacred and sacrificed are kind of the same thing, because a sacred person can't do all the things that a normal person can do.
Well,
a sacred person has certain rules that they have to live by and abide by.
It's weirder than that.
It is weirder than that, but I'm trying to boil it down
because
into
a homo soccer. It doesn't necessarily have to do with what they are or are not allowed to do. It's what other people are allowed to not to do to them, right? And so it's not necessarily that their action is prohibited. It's that their social relation is inherently prohibited.
I think both things are true.
Well, yeah, I mean, one leads to the other, right?
Right.
And so, but because of the fact that you are no longer, because people are now allowed to kill you.
Right. People are allowed to kill you, but
to the world.
On the other hand, people are not allowed to touch you sexually in some cases.
People aren't allowed to sacrifice you, as part of a ritual. I think that's the only rule with the homo soccer necessarily, but I mean, no one wants to be intimate with someone that anyone could probably kill. Well,
right, that's
probably not true.
Well, there's certain cases here and there. What I'm saying is there's like a give and take here where the homo soccer also has some real
soccer is homo, am I right? We like football in the U.S.
They become kind of an untouchable person in some ways.
They become an untouchable, but because everyone wants to touch them to murder them, or potentially.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's Anyway, but the illegalized. The reason that I bring that up is because the fact that rather than putting out some edict saying you need to murder this motherfucker, you just say no longer are they a legal person.
Right.
Which is constantly what our state tries to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
With just migrants of all sorts,
sure,
or in different ways with gay people or people who try to get abortions in recent rule,
or trans people,
just anyone that you want. It becomes some variant of the homo soccer. I mean, you again have Agamben feels a lot of ways about the biosecurity state and vaccines and stuff. But maybe we can talk about that later if we.
Yeah, probably not today.
Yeah, definitely. Today. Anyway, sorry, you've been doing this book review for 3 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
For 4.5
I'm pretty sure
hours.
that the podcast is over.
It's
Yeah.
all been my words. Dude.
We need to start driving. I gotta go.
The black codes and the Jim Crow laws prevented things like basic legal rights to land ownership and cemented the black laborer's place as a victim of extractive finance. They became forced to rent, forced to earn wages, and used as a scapegoat to the white laborer who they were forced to underbid in labor contracts. So, you know, some people will be like, "Oh, don't say it's wage slavery. That's undermining what slavery is."
No,
well,
fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. First off, secondly, wage slavery is literally what replaced actual slavery.
Yeah.
You had what used to be a free labor force, and so you couldn't rent to a free laborer because a free laborer doesn't make any fucking money.
Right.
A free laborer is your property, and you have to house them and you have to feed them, and that's not to make a argument that slavery was good. This is to make the argument that what replaced slavery is kind of bad in the same way, where now the black man, and I say black man specifically because black women are not considered right-holding people at this point at all. The black man now has to they can't own land, first off. So they can't own land. So what does that mean they have to do in order to live? They have to rent property. And when they rent property, they have to pay a rent to somebody who owns that property. And in order to make that rent, they have to work somewhere.
Do we I won't even ask it because I figure some people just don't know that are listening. Arbitrage inside of markets. Arbitrage is it's essentially a market for markets, right? So you end up buying some kind of commodity, right? Yeah. You buy some kind of commodity and then you sell it for ideally a higher price if you're doing a good job. And arbitrage is one of these methodologies that is actually supposed to increase market efficiency, even though it's kind of inherently immoral if you believe in some kind of everyone should put work in kind of thing. But it does help out mathematically with the way that the market functions because it adds efficiency to it because of the fact that suddenly someone can, pay a more efficient price and this lambda ends up getting met. And what I mean by lambda is where, like supply and demand end up meeting together. It's where any two of these markers meet. But the reason that I bring that up is that these markets are constantly trying to reach that point, right, of this greater market efficiency, independent of what is making the top people money, right? And I'm convinced to a degree that it's not even necessarily the people at the top that are at fault, though we should still eat them. It's the way that the market itself functions autonomously in order to efficiency. Increase efficiency. What would you call that?
Optimize.
Optimize, but I don't want to use the word. Whatever.
Optimize
to optimize itself, right? And so by repeatedly optimizing itself, it does things like say, "Hey, what if we did give people money for their labor, but they gave it back,
right?
And what if we gave people money for their labor, but they gave it back, and then the government gave us more money because we didn't give them enough."
Right.
And then what if we gave them money and then they gave the government money and then the government gave them money and then they gave the government too much money and so the government gave them money so that they can give us more money.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that sounded like a bullshit loop, but like that's genuinely exactly how it happened.
Yeah, that's real finances.
Because all of this is an automation of arbitrage essentially when we're talking about labor, right? And so when we're talking about this liberation of slavery or liberation of people who were slaves, I mean that's of course great, in like the most obvious sense in the world, but a big part of it is simply the fact that the way that capital moves and interacts with itself and optimizes itself. I'm still frustrated that I have to use that word, but
Right word
it-
to use here.
but it will
A killing
constantly-
machine can optimize itself, and we don't have to like it for being optimal.
No, that's not my problem with it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Whatever.
But so
Pretty
it's
rude
constantly
not to
optimizing itself.
appreciate the murder robot.
Right. Because it's an epistemic machine that learns from its own actions, right?
Mhm.
And loops in on itself. And so when we're talking about the term like wage slavery, that is literally, I think, the right word to use,
Right.
because of the fact that it's just it's a natural evolution from that more barbaric. But
Well,
still...
I would disagree with the terms of barbarism in a lot of cases, because I thought about this when I was thinking about writing this review and what I wanted to say in the review. And mind you, this is a 750-page book, so I'm just kind of
It's a chunky
hitting
boy.
I'm hitting on some key notes that I think are important in this. And
Would you say you're a keynote speaker?
no, I would not.
Sorry.
I've never done a TED talk, and I never will. I've got another like paragraph and a half that's my overall sort of statement before we move on from this. But shit, what was I talking about? Slavery, right?
Barbarism.
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 Yeah. So I mean, like
Barbarism.
when you consider the barbarism.
The Barbary pirates or something.
No, the barbarism that we experience every day. If you are a person who has not been able to pay your rent because of forces outside of your control, the state will come in and evict you and toss you to the street, and then you become a person that the state abuses every fucking day. Homeless people are abused every fucking day of their lives. I know
Right.
this from personal experience. The cops used to fuck with me all the goddamn time when I was homeless.
Yeah. So are you saying? Let me use a metaphor. I'm sorry to do that again.
Go ahead.
But
I can refill my drink.
let's imagine that you're playing hot potato, and you're using a literally a hot potato, and it hurts your hands.
We're
and
gonna
it's
talk
bad.
about hot potatoes so close to St. Patrick's Day.
We are. But so you're playing hot potato with a literal potato. It's hot. It's painful. No one wants to hold it, and that's why you're playing hot potato at this point. You forgot long ago that the game is even happening. It's just fucking painful.
The potato's hot, and I don't know why we're doing this anymore.
It's just bad, which is the point of the game, right? Is you want it to end, and oh my fucking god!
You lost your metaphor,
I
didn't you?
lost my
Yeah.
metaphor.
Yeah.
No, but hot potato. No, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
he got it.
the potato is state violence.
Okay.
and the way that we generally end
That's a spicy potato.
No, it's totally true though. So the general way that politics works is that it's assigning new control of who is being punished by the state's violence.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's
Without
what
a doubt.
politics
Yeah.
In general is who is going to get butt fucked by the state.
Who's the winner
Right.
today? Who's the loser today?
Right. And I'm just gonna say, and I know this is a violently simplistic metaphor, but whatever, go fuck yourself. I think a good argument for an anarcho something is simply, what if we didn't have a fucking potato?
Yeah. Maybe stop doing
Stop
state
growing
violence. Cool. Good point.
It linked up with what we were talking about.
Well, it's topical too with St. Patrick's Day. So,
It is.
which we'll talk more about St. Patrick's Day once we get to the links that
Are
we
we
have.
going to talk about St. Patrick?
Mm-hmm.
I gave up caring about St. Patrick's
Oh,
Day.
we're not
years
gonna
ago.
we're not gonna talk about St. Patrick's
Yeah.
Day in like a genuine way, of
Because he used to
course.
be that Irish guy. No one can tell I'm Irish.
Yeah, I hate St. Patrick's Day because everybody puts green food dye in all the
In your
local
rivers.
favorite drinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Dorian is moving to a place where, well, nearby a place
Nearby.
where they literally dye a river green every
Dude.
fucking St. Patrick's
Oh
Day.
wow, that's horrific. I was just complaining about all the beers green, the lemonades green,
Yeah.
which I swear affects the flavor.
It absolutely does.
It's
Absolutely
gross.
does. After living in Chicago, I can tell you, yes. But also, sorry, you mentioned Chicago's rivers,
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
now I have to do it.
Go ahead.
I have to do the
Yeah,
thing
tell
where I have to do
tell
it.
us why we should get rid of the Irish.
Yes, we should push them into the river.
Just like the snake St. Patrick got rid of.
So one of the things that always bugs me about St. Patrick's Day is that suddenly everyone becomes Irish for a day, and I know that's like the joke, but also like the cute. Everyone's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Boopity boop.
Oi, laddie! Everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
But it still irritates the shit out of me because race isn't real, and it makes me confront that. But no, the thing about St. Patrick's Day in Chicago is, as Mike referenced, they dye the river green. Why don't they dye rivers green elsewhere? Is it simply because Chicago has a bunch of Irish people? No, it's fucking not, because fucking New York has plenty of them as well. Plenty of those people.
Yeah, plenty of them.
But it also has nothing to do with its proximity to the ocean. I promise you. What is happening here is that the Chicago River is literally it's what's called a sanitary ship canal.
Yeah.
Sanitary and ship canal. And what that means,
It's full of shit.
it's full of poop. It is a river made of poop.
Yeah.
And so is the Calumet. All these rivers are
So
man-made rivers.
is the L.A. River.
Yeah, but the LA River's not even a river.
Well,
Yeah,
It's just not there.
Yeah, it is the world's largest storm drain.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like I said, the LA River.
The most famous instantiation of the LA River is in Terminator 2 when they're driving through it, and it's it looks like a half pipe that goes on for miles.
Well, they also did that in one of the
Yeah.
Transformers movies. I forget
Oh,
which
of course
one.
they did.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah,
It's got to be like the cheapest place to fucking film in LA
It must
because it's
be.
in a million.
Well,
movies.
nobody cares
It's
about
dope.
the runoff of everybody pissing
Yeah.
into it
you
on
just
the
have to
set.
kill like 30 or 40 homeless people in order to use it.
Oh, topical. There
yeah.
we go. Back. Yeah.
But anyway, so that's why they're able to dye the fucking river green, is because it's made of shit and poison anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're not hurting anything by throwing a little bit of green coloring.
yeah, right. So just a fucking reminder about that.
Yeah. How many people fish in the Chicago River? You think?
Well, okay. Sorry.
Shut- oh,
Really quick
God.
story.
Oh man.
So I was doing research in the Calumet River, so not the Chicago River, but I did go wading the Chicago River, which is gross as shit.
Yeah. You have
gross.
cancer now.
I
Sorry.
definitely have
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah, you're just gonna have
Calimet's worse.
diarrhea for life.
Cancer.
Yeah.
No laughing matter, but you have cancer now.
But so I was in the Calumet, or I wasn't in it at the moment, but I was wearing like waders, and I got stopped by a security guard because it was right outside of a sulfur factory.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, don't even if you're wearing waders,
are you
don't
trying-
go into the water at a sulfur factory?
Are you trying to
Because
lick
it's
up
made
our
of-
sulfur, son?
Yeah, it's made of acid. It's literally the way you make sulfuric acid is you add sulfur to water.
Yeah. Pretty easy.
And so it fucking sucks. Like it's not like my flesh was melting off, but it was whatever.
Well, you were wearing waders.
I was wearing waders, but anyway, like I have very sensitive skin. But
Ain't
so
gonna wish.
I hadn't gone in yet at this
Yeah.
point in time. I was just kind of hanging out and I was exploring the area. And this security guard ended up interrupting me, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm from the university. The university sent me," which is technically true.
Yeah.
Technically true. And he just ended up saying, "Well, you can hang out for another 15 minutes." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's nice of you. Like, that's weird." Like I was taken aback by it. And he ended up saying, just no fishing. And I was like, holy shit. The only rule is don't consume anything else in this sulfur water.
Please do not eat the water things.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah.
All right. So let's wrap this up. My
It's a
over
dumbass book that no one likes. Gets
Yeah.
4 stars.
5 stars from me. You haven't read it, I think. So
Not in its entirety, no. So
yeah. Well, so I gave it 5 stars because I read mine in its entirety, and you can't argue with me until you read it fully.
all right, yeah, good point. Good point. I'll accept that.
Black Reconstruction in America highlights the most tumultuous period of the U.S.'s internal struggle and reveals it to be a deeply dishonest, pursuant of what it claims to be. I mean that to be the U.S. itself. The experiment of democracy is nothing but a charade in the service of masking grotesque capitalism. One of the most untouchable fatherly pillars of the U.S., Abraham Lincoln, is revealed as barely more than a shrewd capitalist strategist who negotiated a method for the capitalist class to keep slavery while depriving blacks of the true freedom they earned, simultaneously capturing more land for capitalists to exploit through seizing Native American lands, which would ultimately be worked by black hands. That's something people like to forget about Abraham Lincoln. They call him the Great Emancipator. He waged genocidal war against Native Americans. So
Yeah.
cool guy.
But, you know,
Yeah.
Right?
they're
Yeah.
different.
Well,
I mean,
and you know, I'll see even like quote unquote leftist sort of people be like, nobody's like fucking against Abraham Lincoln. That's crazy to be against Abraham Lincoln. He's a good guy. And it's like, no, not a good guy. Sorry.
It's always really cool when people who are like new to left politics announce themselves.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
And that's something I've always
I was a liberal yesterday, and now I'm angry at everyone about it.
I've always had a suspicion about Lincoln. Given that the 13th Amendment has this gigantic caveat in it where slavery isn't legal unless you've done something naughty,
Yeah,
and then
well-
when you look at the history and it turns out being black is naughty because you know you weren't given the same rights to loitering as a law is based off of you not having a home and you not being able to pay for a home.
Right.
And
Well,
and
they're all
that was the
crimes
black
against
pop.
capital, right?
Yeah, it's all crimes against capital, but especially crimes against capital that were especially prominent with the black community at the time because they were recently freed and they had no way of having like savings to start renting a place, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean it's I would just say the class reductionist thing, which would just be that, yeah, I mean racism ultimately comes from capital mostly,
Yeah.
and the idea that it comes from elsewhere seems kind of racist.
No, I would say
but
that's
yeah, no,
true
I
because the half
he's a great
paragraph
guy,
that I've
yeah.
written here is Du Bois makes a strong case for class solidarity
Yes.
over identity essentialism and highlights cases where the small group of black bourgeoisie were more than willing to blunt the continued push for black rights and reparations for their own political and financial gain.
Right.
So what happened immediately after the end of the Civil War is there were some black folks who found themselves in positions of a bunch of money, and they actually became enemies of the movement of black liberation. Because they what they would do is they'd be like, look, it's not that bad, guys. We need to like tone down how we're fighting all this because they were fine. And they were ignoring the incredible poverty of the newly freed black slaves.
Yeah.
They were also ignoring the intense poverty that white folk had the entire time through this.
The ironic thing, this is something that Christopher Hedges points out a few times.
He does,
actually. Is that the issue with a lot of this, while still being a class reductionist, I promise, is that the no revolution works unless you have some amount of sympathetic upper class power.
For
behind
sure.
you,
Yeah.
Right. And that's simply like a mechanical thing because human beings work off of these
Right.
systems. Right. Or at least that's my take on it.
No. It's not him saying that we need to make friends with the upper class
Oh, he's
necessarily.
definitely not saying that.
Yeah, it's
but-
him saying that the only way these things work is if the upper class recognizes it and agrees to it. in
Some
way.
portion.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be all of them. We don't need to win over Bezos, you guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
We
can string
need
them up,
enough
I promise.
We need enough backing on Kickstarter But that is one of the good things. Ultimately, not to be a weirdo accelerationist about it, but one of the good things about this weird hyper efficiency optimizing system is that it continues to obscure a lot of these class relations, which is generally a bad thing. But when it comes to funding something like an army that goes ahead and murders Jeff Bezos, it makes things a little bit more efficient.
There we go.
Just saying, you know.
That's all I have on Black Reconstruction, which is taken
good
up.
night, folks.
Nope. We got more links. You made this take longer than it should have.
It's not just my fault. It's mostly my fault.
Yeah. So
Cohost, he talks 40% of the time.
you talk like 60%.
Yeah, I've talked a lot tonight. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
No,
forever.
you're
I'll
fine.
shut
You're
up
fine.
forever. No, I get it. No one wants to hear me.
Yeah, wow, this is
No one wants to hear
every
for me.
this is every toxic relationship I've ever had.
Weird Nutter.
I
That's a great name. Especially because from the corner of my eye, it said Wiener Nutter,
yeah,
and the one next to it says Ron Huge.
sure does.
It says Hughes. It says Hughes.
No, it says Ron Hughes.
There's one in front of that as well that says Lays. Wiener
John.
Nutter,
Dennis
Ron
Jones.
Hughes.
Texas.
Lays elect.
Crotcher.
Erect.
Lori Crotcher. Wow.
God damn it, Crutcher.
Ron.
Vote anus?
Both of you. I've lost control of both of you.
Vote Dennis's Johnson.
Weird Nutter.
Yeah,
For
we already
240.
covered that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've done all
well,
the
you know
signs
what?
now, guys, catch up.
Can't I say words too?
I guess. I mean, you are very well spoken.
One of the good ones, some would say.
Oh, I don't like being like this.
Cool,
Okay,
ironic
so what is this
racism.
about?
Texas voting restrictions take their toll. Sorry, no Democrat voting.
Yeah, I mean,
In Texas and at least 18 other states, restrictive new voting laws spell problems for upcoming runoffs, primaries, and the November general election.
well, yeah, we hate runoff.
Go ahead and scroll down to this Twitter post.
It's a toxic river joke.
Yeah. So this Twitter poster posted a picture from their polling place, or sorry, her father's polling place.
That's fucking funny.
Please do not use cell phone while voting. Printed materials are allowed. And then there's a taped on sign that says, sorry, no Democrat voting. And in parentheses, it says not staffed. So basically, voting happens very partisanly in Texas. And
What?
yeah, you need to have Democratic vote judges, essentially. To like vet whether or not you've cast a legitimate Democratic vote when you vote at a place, and they didn't have
shit happening all over the place when it comes to what the fuck are they called, like primaries and stuff like that. Like you have to be registered. and
right.
shit.
Yeah. So this is what this is getting into, and go ahead and
Fucking
scroll down from here.
folks. I had to claim I'm a Democrat on my
So
new
sorry for
license
that.
recently. Because I
Oh,
wanna vote
your
in
new
the primaries.
license. Ugh.
Yeah.
So more than 170 election workers in the county dropped out at the last minute. Tarrant County Democratic Party Chair Allison Campolo told The Intercept the party did not know how many voters had been stopped from voting at the county's Azle location that day. Across the state, Campolo said both parties had trouble finding election workers on primary day, but Tarrant
No,
County.
there's
Well, yeah, it's just primaries, but primaries are also kind of important in their own way.
No. Well, that's just what I'm saying. Is I'm like, this applies to primaries, and then I found out it's about primaries.
Yeah.
And of course it is. Why am I stupid?
But Tarrant County experienced an extreme number of last-minute drop-offs of available election judges. According to the Texas Tribune, more than a dozen polling locations in Tarrant County were closed for several hours due to staffing shortages among election judges.
Hey guys, we can't afford democracy anymore.
Right. Texas is one of several states, also including Missouri, Maryland, and Colorado, to employ election judges to open and run poll locations, manage poll workers, and settle disputes. Other states call these officials poll workers or election clerks, but in Texas, where election judges have been used for decades, they're partisan, and during primary elections, they are appointed by the chair of the county political party holding the primary. Numerous states had issues with recruiting poll workers at the start of COVID-19, and the number of jurisdictions that have reported difficulty in finding enough poll workers increased by 5% between the 2016 and 2018 elections. But the number of sudden dropouts in Tarrant County this month was unusual, according to Campolo. Scroll down a little bit.
They'd tell some fucking numbers on that.
Many of the difficulties with recruiting and retaining election workers for this month's primary stemmed from election's new voting law, known as SB 1. Parker County Democratic Party Chair Kay Parr told The Intercept at least 19 states passed restrictive voting measures in the year after the 2020 election, which Republican officials continue to falsely claim was stolen, but SB 1 is one of the nation's most restrictive. Enacted by Republican Governor Greg Abbott.
Yay,
Yeah.
Greg Abbott!
Who should be pushed down a flight of stairs.
Everyone with honestly, maybe this is racist, and I'm not sorry about it, but everyone with the last name Abbott should be pushed down the stairs.
Right? Yeah.
Australian, American, I don't give a fuck. Kill them all. Just no, like accidentally kill them all.
We've got to kill the
So-
Abbott clan.
So do we want him to die or become more crippled?
There are so many.
I'm
Sorry,
open to
this sounds-
both.
This sounds fucked up. But there are so many disabled people in Congress right now who are in Congress because they're disabled, because ID politics on the right works really well. Because you can always pretend to be a troop. That I would rather he just die.
Yes.
There's like two of them. There's 2 or 3 of them now.
Yeah, there's Madison Cawthorn
Yeah.
and
guy that got-
Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott.
Greg Abbott's not in a wheelchair, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So there's 3 of them. No,
Texas Governor
never
Greg
mind.
Abbott.
Yeah. Sorry, no, my brain did a thing.
Yeah.
I mixed up So there's the 2 of them, and then because my brain is broken and I hate disabled
You combine
people,
them into one person.
No, I did something worse.
The
I
mecha
did
disabled.
something significantly worse, and I thought about that fuckhead with the one eye
Oh,
that did the jump from a fucking plane thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got his eye blown off in
sucks,
Afghanistan,
dude.
and he's like,
Yeah.
I think we should kill more people in Afghanistan.
It's
Anyway.
like Darth Weeaboo or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Darth Weeaboo. So I somehow just decided that he was in a wheelchair too. My brain just decided he's disabled. He's probably in a wheelchair. I don't give a
What-
shit. Like,
Did you just think he was a really bold liar when he was walking down the hall of his fucking secret lair in that commercial?
It's all CGI.
Honestly,
It's all
yeah.
CGI.
So much of it was faked. I was just like, he probably just like flopped out of the helicopter, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
he
fucked up.
he could be Texas governor for all you know.
All right. So there's a point I want to get to in this.
Oh,
SB
keep fucking
1.
this up. We're having a conversation, Michael.
Yeah, good. SB 1 prohibits officials from soliciting, in quotation marks, or distributing mail ballot applications to people who haven't requested
Right,
them,
that sounds like a great.
meaning that answering questions about filling out a mail ballot or helping voters submit them could now be considered crimes, punishable by up to 2 years in jail and $10,000 in fines. In the eyes of the election judges, Parr said, the law threatens legal liability for human error. Beyond that, with the elimination of mask mandates in most of the United States, including Texas, working the polls can be hazardous for the temporary staffers, many of whom are elderly or retired amid the ongoing pandemic. Scroll down just a little bit, John.
Oh.
That was more than a little bit. They are often required to work for more than 14 hours on election days, a taxing shift for any worker. The new law only compounds the difficulty, adding considerable risk to a job that requires long hours, entails tedious duties, and pays minimum wage. Azle sits on the county line between Tarrant and Parker counties, and both counties have their own rules for designating election officials from either party to assist voters. Parker didn't have any issues on primary day, Parr said, but several voters who weren't able to vote in Tarrant came to the Azle poll site about a 5-minute drive away on the Parker County side to try to adjust their ballots. So basically they're trying to make voting hard in Texas, and that's playing a real role in how voting works. And
Are you saying that the most minor inconvenience could stop someone from voting?
yeah, when you work like a 10-hour shift at I don't know, Eat Shit Factory, and
yeah.
where you spent 10 hours eating shit all day.
Yeah. And no one
Yeah.
has helped you do anything politically, or no one has vied for your interests in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
By the way, just as a minor point.
Well, I would disagree on that point. Somebody's probably told you that if you unionize, you're going to get fired.
Yeah, right.
So,
and that unions cost a lot of money, so you should vote Republican.
yeah, so you should vote Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go to the polling place that you're supposed to be able to go to, and you get told, you're not able to vote here because we don't have enough people to let you vote here. That's a. I feel like that's several steps beyond just like, we won't let you vote. We're not gonna let you vote because we don't have the right assistant on the line to let you vote.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, dude, if you don't have convenient parking, a lot of people just aren't gonna fucking vote. Right.
I remember last election.
If it's kind of hot outside,
yeah,
or like rainy, or you have to fucking like do it right after work,
right?
Or
I was incredibly focused on voting for Howie Hawkins, which I don't care what anybody thinks about that. I will never vote for a fucking Democrat because Joe Biden is the reason a lot of black people are in jail right now, and to vote for Joe Biden
Bernie was the Democrat, Michael?
I would probably consider voting for him, but
I mean, he's never going to run for president.
The Democratic Party worked magnitudes of wonder
I shouldn't have derailed this. It was a shit post. Yeah.
But I was incredibly focused on voting for Howie Hawkins, and I pulled into a voting area that was supposedly my voting area, and they said that they weren't going to be able to accept my vote, so I had to drive like 2 or 3 miles down the road.
Really?
Yeah, because I was voting third party.
Around here, and
yeah,
that's wild.
Even in the liberal hellhole that is California, you can't actually vote for the person you want to vote for a lot of times. And
I guess I live in a nice neighborhood.
Fuck you. But no.
That's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so all of these minor inconveniences will stop people from voting, let alone and I know there are a lot of places, especially in and this is done a lot of racist jokes today, but I don't think this is one. But in a lot of urban areas, they are going to have lower turnout. Well, not lower turnout, but lower turnout ratio, because of the fact that you're going to have a whole lot of people simply in that area, and you're going to fill up the line, and then people are going to leave.
Well,
right? in addition to all that shit.
Yeah, and to go back to my review of Black Reconstruction in America, this is such an old tactic that it's fucking boring at this point.
Well, yeah, you have literacy tests, and you have fucking the taxes.
Yeah, black people were allowed legal right as citizens, except for voting, because they were like, black people aren't literate enough to be able to vote. And then the argument became, these are too fresh voters to understand the political implications of what they're voting for. And then what it became later on is they just understaffed these polling locations in black neighborhoods, which is still a thing that happens to this very day.
One of the things that I see a lot of debate about online, and a buddy of mine, he says a lot of very controversial stuff, and I love him, and I agree with him most of the time. But Bjorn Deleuze used to be something else. I forget. Oh, it was fake Dr. John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, but on Instagram, follow him. He's great. He was on a real tear for a while, talking about how all human rights are bourgeoisie, and people were fucking like up in arms about it, because how could you say something like that? And the fact of the matter is that when you have a right, when you have a writ, when you have a legal mandate declaring someone's value, it's something that is able to be altered or subordinated or in conflict with another writ. And of course, like, I don't have a problem. In fact, I think it's good when you produce things like laws saying, hey, guess what? We should have equal forms of voting. We should have voting rights laws. We should have
You can flip
equality
off
of marriage
cops.
laws, things like that. What was that?
You can flip off cops.
We should have a written law saying that.
Yeah.
Even though in some states, apparently that's like assault on the cop now, isn't it?
Well, no, like cops just kind of like are allowed to like arrest you for like any like weird justification, and they're not expected to actually make like legal decisions, even though they can hold you in jail.
But no,
like,
there was a law that came out, I think maybe 2 years ago.
It was in Kentucky, I think.
Right. If you flip off a cop, it was literally that. Like if you flip off or like insult a police officer,
anything that could provoke violence from a police officer was considered illegal.
That's literally kind of part of the point, right?
Right.
Which is that human rights, in the determination that a state determines that they are in fact worth upholding, are in fact necessarily bourgeoisie, right? Because
because
violence is behind it and protecting it, and
it creates a money barrier.
In a certain sense, sorry, John, but if they're protecting it in a certain sense, they're protecting it simply so that they can enclose it, right? They're protecting it to the point that they can say, okay, yeah, technically we allowed black people to vote, but we're not going to let them fucking vote, because we're going to put all the rules in the books.
Right.
It'll be great. But sorry, John, what were you saying?
Well, it is kind of bourgeoisie that like there's even like a system that allows like a state to like try to like further restrict something that even might be declared you have the legal right to like we're supposed to have the legal right to flip off a cop because of the Constitution, but a state can make a law and it can take a decade for that law to be overturned. Because a rich person hasn't been affected by it, or the rich, being part of the ruling class, might support the police.
Right, of course.
Yeah, and the police aren't policing rich neighborhoods, anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've partied in a lot of rich neighborhoods and a lot of poor neighborhoods, and I will just say to you that one of these gets policed every fucking time, almost. Just pointing that out.
It's a poor neighborhood.
It's the rich neighborhoods.
Oh,
the police hate the rich people.
Yeah, I think I'm a little drunk, but yeah, you have to sue and you have to have money to sue. That's why it's bourgeoisie. So that poor people can't fucking sue. Like when we're like when was the first like court cases that were trying to like outline black people's rights? Like how long did that take after Reconstruction? Did the book cover it?
No, he died before that.
Oh, okay. Before, yeah, because I can't remember which one's the first case and like what year it was.
I mean, there were always cases like
10 years after his death, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah, probably the 50s are a good thing to keep as like part of like.
I mean, it depends how you define the question, right? Because
yeah,
sure
that's like my complication in answering that question is during Du Bois's life, there were like plenty of lawmakers who were genuinely advocating for the rights of black people, but go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I'm gonna shit post and do it again. You know what? But no, I do mean this stuff. That it sucks so much hearing you say his name correctly, because
I literally just answered somebody texted me saying isn't it Dubois?
Yeah. So this happens in every single
Yes.
undergrad class where you're talking about him,
It's the boys.
where people will say, "Oh, you mean Dubois?" And I was thinking that in my head the
Yeah.
first time we went over him, because I knew of him, like he was this ephemeral concept to me,
Right.
but I never like read him in a way that was like I never spoke about him. And then the professor started saying Du Bois. I was like, oh fuck.
I think you mean Dubois. No.
No,
Which
so,
is
you know what? I would have
probably
corrected it.
yeah.
I would have, but he was a poetry instructor. This is the only reason that I trusted him. And he was a poetry instructor that taught me that. So you know the like Casanova, Don starts with a J.
Yeah.
What do you call that? A
Oh.
Don, Juan.
Don Juan.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's actually what it is.
I know.
But everyone says, "Oh, you're a real Don Juan." But if
Yeah.
you look at the rhyming spectrum and not spectrum, but the rhyming scheme, then you're like,
It's
"Oh,
a Don
supposed to be Ron
Juan.
Juan, and it's a joke because he's mispronouncing it on purpose,
Right.
and you can see that in the rhyme and all these things." And it was the same professor that taught me that was just like, "Now let's talk about Du Bois." And I was like, "Oh my god, that hurts so much." But you're right.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be right, and anyway.
I literally
But-
just
yeah.
answered a text about that because someone's like, I think you're
No,
mispronouncing
Every time you say it, it drives me crazy because I'm still stuck there. I'm still in my shit there.
and it's fair to have that misconception because
it
it
is.
it
Because
does
it should be
yeah,
Dubois.
it should be Dubois, but it was Du Bois.
Yeah, who's
Um,
texting you? You texting with people?
Yeah,
People-
who's
people are
texting?
texting me.
Who you texting
Yeah.
with during our shit?
Yeah,
I
but-
mean, you wouldn't shut up, so I had to text somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other aspects of the
Voting
text.
bad.
Yeah, next. Please. Mansion. Fuck.
Manchin,
God damn it.
the coolest guy on planet Earth, a Democrat.
Oh, this fucking. God damn it! The fucking headline here.
Man-
It's so infuriating.
Manchin to oppose federal pick over climate stances. Go ahead and scroll down to the rest of the body.
Let's just move on. Let's just go to the next one. I can't do this.
Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat, West Virginia. Stop
I
shouting.
can't. No.
I have
won't-
neighbors,
will
man.
not
I have
be doing this.
neighbors. Oh, never mind. It's not before 10. We're good.
Yeah, we've only been doing this for 2 hours.
Jesus Christ. Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat, West Virginia, said Monday that he will not vote to confirm President Biden's pick for a powerful position on the Federal Reserve Board over her criticism of the fossil fuel industry. That's all we need to leave it at. Kill Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm not going to do it. That's not a threat on my part.
I'm just going to
But
say
kill him.
as well, and it's less inflammatory, but it's also more boring.
All right.
These things go hand in hand. If we had someone that was more against the fossil fuel industry, more critical of them on the Federal Reserve, which is a bizarre station to have to begin with,
Right.
then let's just say,
The fakemoney.com board.
right, it could go one of two ways, right? In my mind, and again, I haven't studied econ, I don't know any of this shit, but you could either have a situation where they increase interest rates on the fossil fuel industry and they probably produce less and then the government makes more money, right?
Right.
Or they don't increase them because the fossil fuel industry doesn't need to loan money generally or take out loans. And so nothing changes. So only a good thing could happen.
Cool.
of having
That's
someone
what
in
we
that
love. Yeah.
circumstance. Right. Like it. There's. I'm sure they do take it. They loan money from the government. They do. They absolutely do. But if you're building something like a Keystone pipeline, then
I've heard about this.
you don't give that much of a shit about what your interest rate is on building that motherfucker, do you?
Yeah, no.
So have someone that puts a 25% interest rate on fucking new pipelines. Just do it. Who gives a fuck?
You'll still
Like-
make money.
They're still stealing out of our pockets for no fucking reason. Have we talked about this yet? Have we talked about the gas price thing?
Yeah. We did.
We have. I would hope we.
Yeah.
Sort of,
Well, yeah.
kind of.
Well, we talked about how like nobody's having a real conversation about it.
Yeah, that they do not
Yeah.
need to charge us more. I mean, they will
No.
because of course they will.
Well,
Because they have an
yeah,
opportunity to, and thereby they'll charge more because markets are about faith. But
right.
Well, that people think that us drilling for more oil will lower the cost of gas necessarily.
So I'll go
Yeah,
ahead and throw
if-
this
if,
out
if
there.
we drilled for 4% more oil, that might be true. Might be true, but
I'll
it's
th-
also not
I'll-
true.
I'll
It's
th-
actually not true because we also export. So,
I'll throw this out there real quick.
but
A YouTube channel named Climate Town.
Climate Town,
Yes,
they're just a big Cum Town fan, but they're afraid of that.
it's actually a really good channel.
I like Cum Town.
Yeah, no, I like Cum Town too. I'm not saying that Climate Town should be perceived as a bad channel or whatever.
Are you saying they're better than Cum Town?
Better on
How would
social.
you rate Cum Town?
I would rate
1 to
Cum Town
5.
as like a
Whole
3.5 out of.
whole numbers.
Can't make me do whole
Yeah,
numbers. You wouldn't
we-
do whole numbers.
We agreed to this.
But we bitched at Danko about whole numbers,
Yeah.
so now you're
Fair
just a
enough.
Cum Town,
hypocrite.
what does it get?
4 out of 5.
You racist piece of shit. You fucking asshole.
Climate Town
Yeah.
also gets a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
It's a charming channel where a guy recently released a video that talked about how oil companies are doing what's called flopping, and flopping is in sports terms when you pretend that you got hit and you fall down to the ground. You're
It's
like,
what
"Ah."
most of soccer is.
Yeah, no, that's actually exactly the metaphor that's being made
I
there.
said it because I meant it.
Right. So I would encourage people to look up the Climate Town video. Oil companies are flopping. To get like a really clear view on what oil companies are doing right now, because it's all made up bullshit. They could charge us the same price and still make profit.
You know that thing
and
that,
they'd be
that
fine.
guys do after you have a one-night stand with them, and they stand in front of you, and they wiggle their hips so their dick hits against one of their thighs and the next, and they just kind of go back and
That's
forth.
not what flopping is.
That's what the fossil fuel industry is doing to me right now. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't-
yeah.
You don't want to sit through that. Like, you see it every time, and it's just a weird
Yeah.
thing that guys do. But
Doesn't
but
make
you're-
me
you're
feel
sitting
good.
through it again, and you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. As a woman, as a proud woman, you shouldn't have to watch us flop.
You deserve better.
You do.
Um.
I'm still gonna do it every time though.
So, anyways, Mansion sucks still. Should be maybe redacted to death.
Redacted to death, I agree with. Yeah.
Yeah, just covered in Sharpie until he slowly is poisoned to death.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, like his skin stops
Yeah,
breathing.
we just keep breaking
It's like
open Sharpies over his body.
It's the
So
it's
he's
that
just a
James Bond
cracked,
death
lacquered mummy.
with like the chick that gets covered in gold.
Uh,
Her skin stops breathing.
Goldbinger or whatever.
Yeah, Goldfinger.
Yeah. All right, cool. Go to the next
Holy
link.
shit, we have so many left.
Yeah.
Is
well,
that me? Or is that the guy from Vice?
it's a guy. We don't need to look at the text of this necessarily.
Play that shit.
Yeah, just play this video, and
We're just up seconds. We're gonna have to interrupt this 4 times.
no, we can let it run through the whole way, I think.
But what is it? Was this a name tag?
Yeah, it's washed out in the fucking contrast or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I thought it was like that they were
This
putting,
guy is
like-
actually okay. It's the person that's gonna come on next that is not okay.
I mean, can I not be freaked out by his outfit? Whether I like potentially.
I mean, he's
might
wearing
like
a
him or
suit and a
not.
tie.
It's just a fat guy.
Well, no, because I mean, because of it being washed out, I thought maybe like I hadn't been like introduced to society in a while enough to realize.
Oh yeah,
realize
with
that now
cut
you
out
put-
lapels.
Why is he wearing
Yeah.
a white flag pin?
The white flag pin is a
Yeah.
sign of national security. Go ahead.
I understand that someone who has committed a rape would not be able to sue if an abortion were to take place. Would a family member of said rapist be able to sue? Would they have standing?
Down from 21. Thank you. If it is the parents, siblings, aunts and uncles, grandparents, then yes.
Fuck you.
Same question then for incest as well?
Down 21.
Thank you, yes.
So if I am raped and choose to have an abortion and my rapist has 10 siblings, is there anything to preclude all of them and their spouses from bringing a lawsuit for $20,000 each?
Down from 21.
I'm not sure their spouses are included in that list, but...
Fuck you.
Wow.
I understand that.
Holy shit.
Wow.
But he says family members are.
Fucking
So,
ghouls.
These are the draconian, awful, fucking anti-abortion laws that are being passed. Even if you are raped and you don't want to carry the child of that rape to term, the family members of the rapist can sue you
$20K each.
for $20,000 each. Horrible. Actually, go ahead and scroll up so I can see what state this is from. There's two
Idaho,
states.
I think.
Yeah,
Texas.
Idaho.
Texas style Idaho laws.
Yeah, so
Fucking love Idaho.
so this is Idaho. Go ahead and go to the next link,
All
which
potato
is
jokes from here are applied to Idaho instead of the
which
Irish.
is a different state,
Tennessee.
Tennessee. We're going to get much of the same response out of this video.
Language proposes to prohibit all abortion. It leaves enforcement up to private citizens through civil lawsuits.
1 in 6 women are victim of rape over their life. A minor who is raped becomes pregnant. They seek an abortion. The rapist's mother, father, neighbor, girlfriend decides to sue. The doctor will be responsible for paying a $10,000 fine.
That is correct.
Do you believe that people experiencing a miscarriage should be subjected to inquiry and subpoenas for some stranger that believes that they had an abortion?
Representative, I think that any time you bring in a civil lawsuit, you must have documentation and proof of an abortion.
You may not understand what your bill does, because that's not at all what this does. This allows people that have no knowledge, no standing, they have not been harmed, to bring a lawsuit against any doctor that they believe have performed an abortion.
That's correct.
Explain your intent, because your explanation a second ago seemed a little off.
My intent is to bring a bill that protects the unborn life in this state.
I have no further questions.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? I think the ayes have it.
Cool.
There's a lot of weird cutting in there as well.
Yeah.
But I imagine that it's probably pretty accurate based on my knowledge of America.
Yeah, no, basically the same thing in Tennessee happened and was passed.
Cool, dude.
Let's go to the fun stuff. Let's go to the fun stuff. We're having a
Yeah.
sad time.
Yeah.
I don't have a vagina,
Oh, well, you'll be fine.
Oh.
right?
Oh, we went to the fun stuff.
There was fun stuff.
Oh, and it's just Nancy Pelosi. God damn it. I would never disingenuously just throw Nancy Pelosi into this as fun stuff.
I see no difference between the way Nancy Pelosi dresses and like the crazy old ladies that you like find wandering around in like the middle of the road.
No, yeah, she wears the
She's the same person. Yeah.
Just sometimes just kente cloth.
So this is they had an Irish lunch or whatever or something in
You mean drinks? You mean happy hour?
Yeah.
no they
Irish
had
lunch.
they had specifically like an Irish lunch.
Yeah, they had soda bread and beer.
They did,
Yeah.
and then they had Riverdance on after Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
When someone
they took
Riverdance
whiskey
done
shots
to me,
and threw
it
potatoes
smells
at
like
each
Irish
other.
lunch. So Nancy Pelosi found it incredibly relevant at this St. Patrick's Day lunch to read a poem from Bono.
Oh,
What?
okay, yeah.
About Zelensky, Ukraine, and St. Patrick's Day. Please,
I'm not
John.
leaving, bitch. Not completely. I'll be here. I'll be here weekly. just leaving in studio. Sorry, someone in the
Oh
chat.
yeah, someone in the chat thinks you're leaving. Nah, He's still bound by contract
I didn't
to
mean
the
call you a
Benzo
bitch in a
Rehab.
sexist way. By
Yeah.
the way. I meant to call you a bitch in the sense that I thought you're incorrect and a coward.
So
I hate you, and I want you to die in a ditch.
let's play
And I
let's
don't want
play
anyone to
Nancy
listen to this stupid
Pelosi.
fucking podcast.
Before I introduce them, I got this message this morning from
Nancy
Bono.
is speaking to a completely
And most of us
despondent
have
room.
always, whether we're in Ireland,
Yeah, no, like,
Irishman.
yeah, no, like everybody is just like clinking away, not listening. Like I can barely
Yeah.
hear her over the clinking of forks.
Everyone's just going diddly 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 diddly
Uh,
diddly diddly
oh.
diddly diddly diddly.
So at a certain point, the clanking will be cut out, I think, and Nancy will be able to speak true to the situation of St. Patrick's Day and Vladimir Zelensky.
Oh, here comes Nancy. What doth slouch towards Bethlehem to be barred?
Oh, Nancy Pelosi, bearer of harbinger of destruction.
She's my favorite Kelpie. She drowned all my children. Anyway, let's do it. Let's do it.
here, whatever it is, Bono has been a very Irish part of our lives.
What?
And he said this. He said, "Oh, St. Patrick, he drove out the snakes with his prayers, but that's not all it takes. For the smoke symbolizes an evil that arises and hides in your heart as it breaks. And the evil risen from the darkness that lives in some men, but in sorrow and fear, that's when saints can appear, to drive out those old snakes once again. And they struggle for us to be free from the cycle."
Nancy Pelosi literally looks like an old snake trying to
Dude,
shed its skin.
okay.
You paused it
I
too
have a few
soon.
things.
Oh,
We're not ready yet. Please
Okay.
let
Okay,
us play this through.
First thing, very
So, in
quick,
this-
very quick,
All
so
right.
quick, is not even most poets should be allowed to fucking read poetry. People shouldn't be allowed to read poetry unless you're trained for like, I don't know, some period of time. 10 minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you should train for 10 minutes to read a poem. Sorry, that's it. That's go on.
This human family, Ireland's sorrow and pain is now the Ukraine, and St. Patrick's name is now Zelensky.
Why did you do that Benzo chapter?
That's why I wanted you
Oh
to.
my god!
That's
Well, you
that's
like
why I
it?
wanted you to wait. And then what happens after is John.
There can't be more. This can't keep
Well,
going.
well,
She
no.
can't keep getting away with this.
She basically ends here, but what happens after
I'm
is
dizzy.
yeah. Well, fair. What happens after this is just Riverdance, which is nice, I guess. I don't know. John, skip like a minute ahead.
But I'll say the other part of it, okay? Which is, it's necessary for me to say this. Everyone says it that has some kind of like mild amount of knowledge and position about this.
Yeah.
Because I grew up identifying as Irish. Okay. That was a big part of my
Oi,
family.
I'm an Irish
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. We're Irish Americans. We're Irish and German.
I'm a little Irish
which
boy.
is true of every American, to be fair. Like,
Yeah.
like it doesn't fucking matter. Like every American identifies as Irish, and or German, depending on the kind of shitty Protestant that you are. But just a reminder about the snake thing. Snakes are a metaphor for Celts.
Yeah.
The snakes are being murdered by Romans and then by everyone else.
By God-fearing
By
Irish.
God-fearing people.
Irish. By God-fearing Irish.
And guess what? Guess what? I know that a lot of Irish in the Isles fucking love St. Patrick's Day. And a lot of Americans do too, and whatnot.
I love
But-
every day I can get drunk without
No, I
without
agree with
judgment.
that. I love that 5th of May day,
Yes,
whatever the fuck
Cinco
that
de
is.
Mayo.
Sin queso de queso.
Yeah. I call it
I
I call it
racist cheese thing.
I call it Cinco de Drinko.
There you go.
So I hope that helps.
But there are like 7 or 8 times as many American Irish as there are Irish people now.
Yeah.
Which is very funny to me because there's no such thing.
All
as
the
Irish
good
person
ones
now.
came to America.
All the bad ones. We have the worst of them. We just have a lot of them. Anyway, we paint our poison.
There's
rivers
no
green.
bad Irish in Boston.
Oh God, Boston.
Isn't like all of Boston just like
Irish
terrible?
cop. Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
wearing your shirt.
My shirt.
Not your shirt.
Oh, okay.
John's shirt.
Oh yeah,
they're
the
beating
wife.
their
Oh,
wives.
the wife. Hey, the wife beater.
That was a roundabout. I came all the way back. I came back for you
Yeah.
guys. I left you in the dust, and I came back to
Jesus
accuse our
Christ,
friend
man.
of beating his wife and also every Irish person. Because that's what they do.
John literally has an Irish last name. We have to respect that.
It's a Scottish last name.
Yeah. You fucking racist
No.
piece of shit.
No, it's
Yeah,
Irish.
Mine's a
It's
British
def-
last name.
It's
You wanna fucking call that Irish?
definitely a Scottish last name.
All right, well, you live in whatever fantasy you want to, John.
You fucking racist.
Time to watch Riverdance.
Yeah, we can watch a little bit of Riverdance.
Riverdale.
Hit that shit.
Oh.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, go to the next link. Fuck this.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
Imagine like
Yeah.
leather pants.
Well,
It's
that
just a bunch
happens
of
later.
13-year-old girls.
Oh.
Here is Nancy Pelosi. You may have noticed she's in the same dress
How many
wear.
times is this going to happen to us, Mike?
She's in the same dress
How many
wear.
times are you going to do this to us?
She's in the same
How
dress.
many times? Are you saying this counts as one time?
This counts as one
Is that what
time
you're saying to me?
because she's in the same dress wear that she was in the clip before.
She has different background now.
She has
a different green screen.
Sure,
She
but
is
she's
in
wearing the same dress.
Yeah, the same crocheted muumuu.
Look, Mike.
So what does she have to
Yeah.
say here in this
I've worn
video
the same
clip?
clothes minus shirt because this
For 10 days now.
I was gonna say 14, but anyway. This one you're-
Play this clip, John.
Yeah.
Madam
Ms.
Chair.
Jacob.
Do you, I just want to dig into that a little bit more on the COVID relief.
This will be your
package.
third time.
My third time, what, ask about COVID relief?
Yeah.
Well, it's substantive. You like substantive questions, so I just want to
Yeah,
make sure
well, while people are dying in the Ukraine and all of that,
Fuck
you know.
you,
people are
you stupid bitch.
Do you
You can
plan
go ahead
to
and just
offset
pause it there, John.
Yeah, we have to upset it.
You can't do it. I can't deal with Nancy Pelosi anymore. It happened. It finally
So
happened.
basically,
no.
shut up.
Let's not do this.
Nope,
Let's just
we're gonna
move
do
on.
it.
I can't.
Jesus Christ, man! Just get your fucking feels under control for a second.
My fifis.
Yeah, your fifis,
My
your
fifas.
feels.
But seriously, like I am at I don't. I can't even finish the sentence. I don't know what to say. Like,
Exactly.
I just.
That's where we should be with the Democratic Party. Is all the point that I wanted to make.
Holy
you have Nancy Pelosi here being asked about COVID relief because COVID is still affecting a lot of people.
Is COVID
And
real still?
COVID is still real. It turns out.
Did we cure it?
And Nancy Pelosi's response to this journalist's question about COVID relief is, "This is the third time you've asked about this." And the journalist is like, "Yeah, well, it's a substantive question. You like substantive questions, right?" And she just shoots him down because she's a lizard person.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, to Max Lambie, no, she didn't fucking realize it was made of limericks. She didn't realize it was made of anything. In fact, she was reading it so poorly, I didn't realize it was made of limericks.
Yeah.
Like, and I've studied poetry for 5 years.
There once was a man from Nantucket who said
Who stuck his
Putin is
big dick in his
bad
pocket.
and fuck it. And we all went to Ukraine and we got lost in the
Lots of
brain.
We got
Yeah.
lots of brain. That's what you should have said, Michael. If anyone wants to come to
Whatever.
the Yukata,
We are
we
ending
have a
that
poetry
segment.
workshop, anyway.
Go to the next link,
Oh,
John.
we're done? Okay, thank God.
No, we're not
I said I
done.
was done. Yes,
This
okay,
is your
me.
link. This is
me.
your link.
This
Yeah.
is me. This was sent to me by a real person. This was not a joke. I'm gonna read it. Scroll up. Hold on a little bit. Situation update, which is the name of the email that I received. And I actually plan on doing it with some
RE situation update.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be a new thing that we do, where we do this. I don't know, as often as I get these. So hopefully every week, we'll have one of these. My favorite one, but this is my favorite. Situation update: Obama linked to bioweapons labs making dangerous pathogens in Ukraine, while a senator! Pentagon admits to several global bioweapons labels! Using Slavic DNA to create a weaponized virus! M dash we the
What?
people news. That is the headline.
What is and wait, are they insinuating that they're making black vampires with Slavic DNA?
John,
I did
I
still don't know.
Making black vampires? I mean, you mean benefiting black
Yeah,
vampires?
I still don't know what it means, but let's find out what it means. Scroll down, sir. There is
Jesus.
a block of text.
Oh,
If you could,
man.
if you could
the most poorly formatted for consumption
it is all
on the
one
internet.
chunk, and I'm gonna read it like one chunk. So if you could just scroll with me.
Yes.
Situation update. Obama linked to bioweapons labs making dangerous pathogens in Ukraine while a senator. Pentagon admits to several global bioweapons labels using Slavic DNA to create a
You have to maintain composure.
to create a weaponized virus. We the people news. Thank you. I won't yell the rest of it, but it's all in caps.
Yeah.
Mary for your continuous updates. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start again.
Yeah. With
That
some
fucked me up.
levity, please.
Thank you, Mary, for your continuous updates. For we the Patriots, we very much appreciate your hard work in research, editing, splicing, and loyalty in keeping us informed with WW current events. Thank you. Peace and much love to you all. Rest WW Heart V8 VT Alien Face. Side note, : on March 7th, former SCJ Sonia Sotomayor
Supreme Court Justice.
well, no, let's keep the anyway. Found herself in front of Vice Admiral Crandell for her final Gitmo hearing. I'm sorry. Okay.
What?
You remember the one with what's his name? Whose eyes bulged out and he screamed, "You can't stop us! We're everywhere." Tom Hanks. He's dead now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the Tom Hanks one? Anyway, so I'm gonna calm down.
Please
and I'm
do.
gonna finish this as an adult. as
You're
a mature
acting
adult.
erratic in
I
the
am.
face of truth.
I am. I'm sorry. For her final Gitmo hearing, she represented herself and stated, "Nothing can happen to me." As President Obama stated, "I'm protected for life." Vice Admiral Crandell stated, "Obama's not here and will have his day," Sotomayor stated.
You turned Sotomayor
They're
into
both
an
Irish.
Irish.
They're both Irish. After
They're both
40 years
the
as
same Irish
SCJ,
lady.
I don't need legal counsel. And Vice Admiral Crandell stated, "There's no, I'm sorry, there's no sense in where they put quotation marks." Crandell stated the charges: treason, sedition, CA humanity,
Californian humans?
espionage, falsifying public records, money laundering, bribery, and domestic terrorism without, I will say, an Oxford comma, which is offensive to me.
Right. Yeah.
Sonia Sotomayor interrupted and again stated, "President Obama said I'm protected for life and he'll save me." Wasn't Sotomayor saving herself before? I'm so fucking confused.
I don't know, man.
At this point, the three-panel judge advocates interrupted. Advocates.
Did this come
Vice.
Vice
Yeah.
Admiral.
Vice is very important there. Not Vice. Vice.
Stated, we have heard enough. This is Vice Admiral.
Oh, now he's a Vice Admiral. Okay, good.
Stated, "Sonia Sotomayor, your full name, you will be hung by the neck until dead on March 28th. The demons are going down, just not as fast as we want. P.S. In the text.
Yeah,
The-
Jesus Christ.
For all the humans who have been taking Nurofen, or Zevance for pain, stop immediately.
As it has graphene oxide in it. The letters and numbers on each tablet are made up of graphene oxide. To test your medication, drop 2 tablets in a half glass of water and swirl it around until it's dissolved. And then hold the glass up and place a magnet on the outside bottom of the glass. Then raise the magnet upward. And if you see black particles reacting to the magnet and going upward, that is your graphene oxide in your medication.
I would say it's time for the lawsuits to begin. Peace and much love to all patriots, WW Hart, Alien Face, and a special thank you to all light beings around the planet who are helping in the eradication of the demon's heart, VT, Alien Face. And then there's a beautiful, the most
20
beautiful
missing
picture.
celebrities
Go
who
down.
have never been found.
Right, but go down. I want to see that whole image.
No,
beneath.
John, please.
It's an image of not just a vampire Obama, but he's a demon vampire because he's red and he has fire behind him.
Yeah,
it
and
says
he's got
mass
like
murder.
a knife going on
It
there.
looks like one of my memes. It's so badly done. It looks
So-
like it actually looks worse than one of my memes. And then it says
So-
situation update, and it says 3/11/22, and there's a guy wearing a biohazard mask with a bunch of, I guess, COVID things in front
Well,
of him.
that's a
that he's holding in
pentagon,
bobble,
actually, is
a
what it is.
bubble. Oh, that's also in the shape of the Pentagon. I'm sure they bring that up,
Yeah.
actually. And then they say deleted web pages tell us something about the one who led efforts, the Ukraine biolabs, yada yada. Dangerous pathogens, big yellow, scary.
Sorry,
sign.
I have to
And then there's a
correct
map.
you. Ukraine biolabels.
That is what it says. It's a biolabels.
So this reminds me of when I have to install a Chinese piece of equipment. The
Right,
grammar
yeah.
that the fucking
Every time I make
manual is
furniture at
written
home.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the same people.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is.
Oh.
That's why they're asking you for Bitcoin in both places.
For sure.
Oh man, I went to the ATM. Speaking of Bitcoin, and now
The ass to mouth
I-
machine.
no,
you
my corner store ATM. You can buy Bitcoin from.
Oh, Jesus
That's fucking
Christ.
funny. So actually, that brings up something I'm curious about, right? So I was poor enough at many points in my life, actually, where I couldn't afford to have a bank account, right? Because they charge you like $10 a month until you find a credit union. By the way, find a credit union if you haven't. But I was too poor to have a bank account, and so what I did is I did check cashing. Because it was literally paycheck to paycheck. Like, it was bad. And then it's expensive because they take like 25%. Right? Like, they take some asinine chunk. And I'm really curious what's happening now with Bitcoin and all this crypto stuff, where, like, how oftentimes do you go in to cash your paycheck and they're like, we'll go ahead and cash your thing, but what about you give $5 to the 0.000000002 Dogecoin that we won't give you, or something like that. Like, I'm sure there's some weird scams going on there that I'm not aware of, but
So
check cashing must be so much worse than now. Being poor is bad.
we can probably do an episode. I have a theory. That cryptocurrency has a fascistic tendency.
It has a liberal tendency, so probably a fascistic one, yeah.
Right, and I would like to make the argument that crypto has a fascistic tendency, not just like a liberal, like, oh yeah, we're just playing around with money sort of thing, but it has a fascistic tendency in the way that it abstracts like material goods into like hope and faith sort of thing.
But what's the difference then between capitalistic and
Well,
fascistic?
I wouldn't say that there is a difference.
I think it's a pipeline, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no. So before we get into that, let's go to our last link, which is more Nancy Pelosi. Or no, sorry, it's not more Nancy Pelosi. We're done with the Nancy Pelosi.
Thank God.
What we're moving into is McCarthyism.
Is she the new person on the View now that we removed what's her fuck?
Meghan McCain. Yeah. She's the new.
That's the funniest shit in the world. I'm sorry.
We replaced the white lady who wants to subjugate everybody with the brown lady who wants to subjugate everybody.
A white passing brown lady with red hair who's a little overweight, just like Meghan McCain was.
Yeah, and her dad was like a Contra. So
Was she
that's
a Contra?
No, her dad was.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Her dad,
was a Contra? So
yeah.
she's rebelling against dad by being on The View? Okay.
Rebelling.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Incredibly relevant question.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan killed my father after funding him, and that's why I love him.
The question I want to ask before we go into this is,
do you want to die?
Do you guys miss
Myth?
myth?
You fucking idiot. You piece of shit.
Do you guys miss McCarthyism?
Oh yeah, you know that like keeps me up at night sometimes, and sometimes I wake up in cold sweats. You know,
Both of you are just non-base as shit.
I mean, as long as communists are dying.
Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Question. And I think DOJ, in the same way that it is setting up a task force to investigate oligarchs, should look into people who are Russian propagandists and shilling for Putin. That's being, if you are a foreign asset.
Go back 2 seconds.
So such a precise time.
Yeah,
that's 1 second.
That's perfect.
Yeah, you get what you ordered the first time.
It sucks so much how pretty girls always have ugly friends. Sorry, go on.
Oh my God.
That's being, if you are a foreign asset to a dictator, it should be investigated. In fact, I remember when Tulsi Gabbard, and I even hate that we're discussing it because I think to myself, who is this woman? She's she's no longer in Congress. She's a failed presidential candidate. She only practically exists on Twitter. And the fact that we're giving her oxygen is what makes her relevant, that we're talking about her on Hot Topics. But on the other hand, how do you not call out something that is repeating false Russian propaganda and that has been brought down?
They used to arrest people for doing stuff like this. If they thought you were colluding with a Russian agent, if they thought you were putting out information or taking information and handing over to Russia, they used to actually investigate stuff like this. And I guess now, there seems to be no bars. And people are not being told to hate Putin. Putin doesn't need a reason to be hated. It's pretty much clear.
Yeah.
He started a war.
He started an unnecessary war.
But this is kind of...
Signification is entirely unnecessary. We just know what is real and what isn't. But also, that was amazing, Mike, actually, because, and I'm sure there's more, and I hate you for that.
Yeah,
but
you're welcome.
But just the fact that I was able to transition from like, oh man, why did I say a mean thing about this lady?
Right.
For a moment, and then being like, oh no, I hate everyone here.
Yeah.
This is the
worst
I've ever listened to since the last time I listened to Nancy Pelosi.
You remember McCarthyism? What if
arrest people who spoke like that?
Exactly. We used to arrest people who would spread Russian propaganda. That was when McCarthyism was in full effect, and we would just arrest people for being like, communism might be okay.
And it's so funny because you think about like, oh my God, you're a Russian poet. They used to arrest people for being poets in Russia.
We used to arrest people for being Russian.
Like that. You guys used to arrest people for speaking like that, and then you put them in some kind of weird secret prison.
But what's
is that crazy? Whereas we used to arrest people for speaking like that, but it was cool as shit. It was awesome.
It was so great whenever you were like, I'm a communist, and then the the CIA would shoot you in the head, or the DOJ would arrest you and put you in a prison for the rest of your life. That was awesome. That was so fucking good.
Hope they all die from radiation poisoning.
Same.
And I'll do it with them.
Caused by a Russian nuclear
I will
plant.
I'll go ahead and I will infect myself with radiation, not in order to infect them with it, not to kill them, but just as penance, as payment for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to like point out that like McCarthyism is happening in the mainstream now. But the way that McCarthyism is happening is like and to be fair,
It happening during Trump.
Yeah.
We saw it happening before then.
For sure. Yeah. The entire like Trump is a Russian asset thing is a total non sequitur.
We're all friends with the FBI and CIA now because they hate the orange man.
Right. Yeah. And now what we have is and I think Tucker Carlson is a reprehensible being.
Yeah, he's
I
gross
think
as shit.
I think Tulsi Gabbard is a stupid piece of shit.
Yeah, she also sucks.
But to say that they're Russian assets and therefore need to be investigated by our Department of Justice and
No, just look into their taxes.
and incarcerate right, exactly. Look into their financial ties and arrest them for that. But this is the least like fucking possible like actual criminal thing that we could hold them to account for.
Just literally just fire them. Just don't
Sure.
put them on to shows.
Whatever. Do whatever you want with them, except for like state violence.
How funny would it be
For the fact that they like Tucker Carlson was, before the war in Ukraine happened, was like, why am I against Russia? I would like Russia.
He never tried to cancel my balls for hanging out.
He's a dumbass piece of shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you should be arrested on state charges of sedition.
What does need to happen, though, is we need to make an Eastbound and Down type of show about a Tucker Carlson who falls from grace and just becomes a fucking washout piece of shit living in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, that would be great.
We need
that would be funny.
We need it. I'm not even saying like I'm suggesting it.
No.
They should take it up off my hands. I'm saying
I think we
it
do
needs
need
to
it, yeah.
happen, and if we don't get it, I will find you and I will kill you.
God damn it! Shit. It's a lot of viewers and listeners.
You know who you are.
In the dozens. In the dozens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to end this on the McCarthyism of the new liberal class. Jesus fucking Christ.
Good night, love you.
I hate
Mike is my friend.
Nope,
John
we're
is my
not
friend
done.
also.
We're not done yet.
Take medicine, put it in your butt. Suppositories are good for you.
They're called booty bumps.
Booty bumps.
Yeah.
Man on the streets.
Yeah.
No, I just hate the way that that this whole engagement is being reconditioned into anti-Russian imperialism of its own sort, and like Whoopi Goldberg realistically just like saying McCarthyism should be real again is fucking insane.
Do you remember Sister Act?
I don't. I really don't. I watched it, but I don't remember it. And so if it had some troubling things in it, I wouldn't have ever known.
Yeah, I don't really remember either. I remember it happening, so she should be dead. It's been too
Good.
long.
Well,
you shouldn't allow it to. Once you make your mark on culture, someone should come up behind you and shoot you in the back of the head. Like
please,
that's just how
dear
culture
God,
should work.
that's how I want it to end.
Because imagine how we would think about the Harry Potter books now.
Oh yeah.
If we just murdered
without all the transphobia that occurred later
Instead,
on.
Like actually
Yeah.
make it more dramatic. Like I'm willing to do this as an artist who, like, of course, is so cool that he's going to affect
it's so
culture in a meaningful
cool.
way.
It's so fucking
but
cool.
drawing and quartering like any like successful artist, just like pulling their intestines out of their body. That should happen. That should
You've
happen.
reached what they'll call the stage.
Instead of a Nobel, like, so you do get a Nobel still, and you still get to do your speech, but most people just like sob through it because they're like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have written the thing I wrote, and then they get fucking cut in half, and their fucking lungs get like folded around their back, and like all sorts of shit.
Well,
And
the
that's what we
important
should do.
thing, the
And we
important
should have
thing,
it for things as minor as the Oscars.
well, yeah,
Things as minor as a Golden Globe. Like, you should just get murdered for that.
and I think I think the important facet of this is that you have to see the person that you adore and love die horribly. Yes, yeah,
their final show.
right, yeah.
It's better than the disappointment of them becoming a detached rich person.
You either die via corporal state punishment, or you live long enough to become Goldberg.
Becoming harder to agree with this.
I'm just saying, I'll offer myself up so long as it happens to everyone else.
As always, the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is a free broadcast and will always be a free broadcast. If you would like to donate to this cause, please go to patreon.com/BenzoRehabDungeon. Dorian, you had the Trincata Workshop. Please pitch that.
Oh yeah, what's up, Dad? So yeah, Trincata Workshop, patreon.com/Trincata, TRUNCATA. We are finally beginning the new very long quarter/semester. It's going to be a while. It's going to be 10 months. It's going to be split in two. It's complicated. Whatever. So we now have a guest lecturer for the next 10 months, who is Laura Nicholson. They are phenomenal, and they're going to be leading,
based and cool,
and will be leading our erotica workshop. They did a test run of it this last week, and it worked very, very well.
And real quick, if you think erotica as a workshop is just like,
it's not just
horny, I like being pissy horny or whatever. No, it's not that. It's about the body and how the body relates to capitalism,
right.
And that's very important.
Everything is desire, everything is the body, everything interacts. If your body dies, so do you. It's just like the Matrix, except cool. And so yeah, I mean it is more nuanced and more political and more interesting than just a horny dick touches vagina in new and interesting ways kind of workshop.
I'm so,
but it will still have that
unaroused. Okay.
It will still have a lot of that, yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say I'm
was
becoming less and less aroused.
No, you'll still get a boner. I was speaking to Laura earlier today about this just to confirm, because I remember at the end of the workshop that we did, one person's compliment was, "Wow, this wasn't as awkward and horny as I thought it would be." And then my complaint was it wasn't as horny as I thought it would be. And so, yeah. But anyway, so it's a good balance. It's very political. It has a lot of this erotic work inside of it, but it's not necessarily just focusing on, like, what about cum? Am I right?
What about jizzing?
But yeah, anyway, so we're going to have that once a week. So it's going to be the first week of every month. And that's included in the workshop payment that you do on Patreon. All of the money for this period goes to the guest lecturer at this point. So any money that you end up donating to us ends up going directly to Laura, at least for the time being. And then we are going to also have 2 workshops on fascism every month. So that's going to be kind of a nightmare, but that'll go on for the next 5 months. We're just going to kind of explore that and see if we can't make it so that you can finally explain what fascism is at your rallies. And when your fucking weirdo uncle is just like, you don't know what that word means, you can explain it to him concisely.
You can piss on his face and tell him it's whenever capitalism does anything.
Yeah, you can piss on his face and said, I learned this in my erotica workshop.
I'm horny and I'm peeing on you.
The last type of workshop that we're going to have, so this is going to happen every 3rd week, I think, we're still organizing this, is a simple writing workshop. So what we're going to do is we're going to have people come in that just want to talk about writing in general, and I'm going to have some kind of very basic writing lesson, be it talking about pentameter, or if we're talking about essay writing or organization or something. And each week we're going to really focus in on one kind of aspect of writing. So we have a really kind of a smorgasbord going on for a while, and it's exciting. So anyway, patreon.com/Truncata, TRUNCATA. Otherwise, message myself on Instagram, Dank Deluz.
Or me.
Or him.
At Benzo Rehab Dungeon.
.com.
Cummy panties.
My panties are heavy with wetness.
All right. With that said,
what?
I think we love you all. Real quick, we probably won't have a podcast next week because Dorian and I will. Yeah, Dorian and I will be traveling, but I will put something together that marks the travel that we do.
We'll take photos, mostly dick pics, as we're driving.
Right.
You're
Yes.
not jerking it while you're.
And like candid excerpts of he and I.
You get to hear all the slurs.
Yes, all the slurs. We're gonna do all the slurs.
The normal slurs that we usually say. None of the weird ones.
So yeah. We will take a week off. Kind of, sort of.
We're gonna be stuck in the car for what, like 32 hours minimum with one another. So there will be recording done.
Yeah, and it'll be shitty. So
you'll get to hear the A-frame in my car wobbling.
we love you for the next week or more. Please take your medicine.
Oh
yeah! Wow, the cue.
Your cue.
Also, two. Please take mine too.
Yeah, no. Save some for your friends.
What?
Please.
Cool. Yeah.
These people have friends.
Glad we got that all sorted out.
This is bullshit. Are they speaking with one another?
I don't think a single one of our viewers has a close friend.
I'm gonna end the broadcast now.